Welcome along, everybody. We are here for Monza, and I'm just trying to sort some stuff out, so bear with us whilst we get everything ready. But yes, we are just trying to get the grid sorted, and we can crack on, hopefully, with the race. And we can get started, hopefully. But yeah, bear with us whilst we get it all sorted, because there's nobody in the grid, and yeah, bear me whilst I get it all up and running. But yeah, stay tuned. Right then, well, we're just waiting for a reserve to change his car so we can get everyone in and sorted. Right then, fantastic stuff indeed. Right then. Okie dokie. Right, yeah, well, fortunately not getting much of a response, so this is the annoying bit. Okie dokie. Right then, I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. Cool. Yeah, I'm a bit stuck, to be honest, guys. So yeah, we'll have to just give us a few minutes. Hopefully, we can get it sorted. One day we'll get it started eventually, but yeah, sorry about this. We'll have all sorts of stream issues, all sorts of everything else issues as well. But yeah, one day we'll get started, hopefully. But the person who is meant to be switching is not responding in Discord, which is helpful. Someday, please. God. All right, we're just gonna have to. We're just gonna have to get on with it then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Oh God! Right then. This is the fun stuff, the joys of everything, really. Trying to get stuff sorted, but one day we will get there. I hope. Fingers crossed. Oh, this is ridiculous. Come on. Right then. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is just a joke, really. To be honest. I don't know what is going on with this guy, but he is very helpfully just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. and he is just staying there doing nothing as well. Brilliant stuff indeed. Oh, oh, it's just the best thing ever, isn't it? Oh, God. Very sorry to the people who are actually wanting to race and get on with it, but we're being held up by one person who's not changing their car. So yeah, very sorry about this. We will hopefully get underway in the next minute or two. But yes, at the moment we are just having to sit here and wait, which is a bit annoying. If Astrojon would please move to the Red Bull car, that would be fantastic, and we can crack on with this race, hopefully. But he has moved to Red Bull. Brilliant. Okay, now we can get started finally. Right then, I think that's sorted. Good stuff indeed. We are missing Justify in both the other Red Bull and Lucas Percy, who's joining in quali, and we can finally get going. Well, that was fun. What a start then. Right. Yeah, wonderful. Right. Okay, good stuff. Right, hopefully we can crack on now. Bear with us whilst I get the audio up. Everything else is working. Finally, the stream is working. Finally, everything else is working as well. Oh, goodness me. Oh, Lucas Percy's joined. Fantastic. Oh, lovely wet start then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Bear with us whilst we get everything sorted. And Lucas Percy has jumped into the car as well. Fantastic stuff indeed. Right, I need to... yeah, well, what a start it's been. Right, now I need to find the stream on my phone and actually get going then. We've got qualifying and a very wet start to qualifying here in Monza. We might as well just start the stream from brand new again, to be fair. Welcome then to the stream. We have got, what have we got? We've got all sorts of action, to be fair, but good luck to all drivers from Rocket Lee. Rocket Lee, if you want to jump in, feel free. There's a Ferrari seat available. Good luck all from R2B as well. Then let's see what the Alpine is capable of as well. Then Rain says Ginger Age. And then good luck everyone from Ginner as well. Then I think we've been told that the rain is coming. Well, rain is going to be on then for the first 5 minutes of qualifying. It's going to dry out then in the session, I believe. And there we go then. So here we are then. We've got rain at the start of qualifying here. Unfortunately, Astrotron hasn't bothered to join. Not Astrotron, sorry, he has joined. Justify hasn't bothered to join, and who else is missing? Vintage, I think, is off ill or something like that. So there we are then. That is the situation we've got then. So good stuff indeed. 18 to start off the qualifying then. We've got everyone racing around then, ready to start off the 16 minutes now of qualifying left. As of course it's a bit of a wet start then here in Monza, but I believe it will get itself sorted then. Apparently what we've been told is going to be sorted for the Grand Prix itself. But there we are then. We are ready to get going now finally, and it's been an extra 10 minutes of nothingness purely because it took that long for somebody to wake up. But there we are then. So a fantastic start. Good stuff. Here comes Cam. Cam is reserving in the Racing Bull, but he is not setting a time in qualifying. He's starting from the back of the field in the Racing Bull car as well. Who is it? It's Sick as Muck then. Sick as Muck to take us underway then for the Ferrari's home race here, of course, in Monza, into the first chicane then for the red liveried car, of course, heading through the first turns 1 and 2, then into the Curva Grande, sorry, not the Grande Curve, but it's something like that. But there we are then, through the Curva Grande we go now for the Ferrari of Sick as Muck, then heading towards the second chicane, the Della Roger chicane as well. Then, of course, purple in Sector 1, then he's on the intermediate compound tyres, as I think are everybody else out there. Soft compound tyres in the pit lane for Young Lights as it stands. So we'll have to wait and see what he's going to be up to then in this race, in this qualifying first. Of course, we've got 15 minutes left of qualifying as we go through into the second Lesmo now for Sick as Muck, and charging down towards the Ascari chicane as well. Then here comes the Ferrari, then flying down the hill, and looking pretty good at it as well. Then here he comes then, 58.296 then in Sector 2. Then let's see what the final sector is going to say then for the Ferrari driver of Sick as Muck coming through Ascari. Then he's gone, well, he's not maximised the width of the track there, let's just say that, because the camera couldn't keep up with him. But here we go then down towards the Parabolica now, the final corner then of this famous circuit as well. Then heading into the braking zone, then heading through the Parabolica as well. Then of course that is where one Ferrari had a bit of a big smash then did Leclerc a few years ago. Thankfully Sick as Muck has avoided any issues then, and up to the line it's a 28.5 then for the Ferrari driver then to set ourselves underway. But Ginner has done 26.4 then in the Mercedes. Good stuff indeed. Whereas Equaz, he's just going through into Della Roger chicane, then Mumford starting a lap, then Vessia into the Aston Martin, has switched with R2 beat now, and heading up to the line then for Vessia. What's it going to be then for the Aston Martin driver? It's P2 then with a 27.4, then he's a second behind Jenner, who's set a fantastic time so far on the 26s. Brilliant stuff indeed. Lucas said good evening as well, and Gordo said good luck all as well in the Aston Martin soft compound tyres for Gordo in the pit lane there. Interesting stuff indeed then. Where is Equaz heading down towards Ascari? Mumford is... Where is Mumford? He's invalidated his time, unfortunately. That has Mumford. Then Coop starting off, finishing off a lap, I should say. Then where is Astrotron then heading through to Ascari as well? So where's Coop? Coop going through Parabolica now then to finish his first lap of the session. Let's see what it's going to be then from the Williams driver as we go through the final corner. Then sprinting to the line then for the Williams. Up to the line, it's a 27.7, puts himself P3 on the second row of the grid as it stands. Good stuff indeed. Here comes his teammate then, Equaz, in the other Williams car, then heading to the line as well. Then let's see what the other Williams can do then. He's currently in P2 in the standings. He's behind his teammate in the qualifying on the second row of the grid. Then 28.0 then for Equaz, puts himself P4. Astrotron has done a 27.5, then puts himself P3. He's taken a gap then ahead of the Williams cars, then into P3 then for Astrotron. Then good stuff indeed for him. Kiki then coming through into the second Lesmo. Where is Mumford? Mumford coming up. Mumford is Mumford starting another lap. And of course Mumford invalidated on his previous run, so we'll come back to him. But Kiki then heading down to the Ascari chicane through the second Lesmo. Then ERS on the money then for the Racing Bull driver. Then as we head down the hill here up to Ascari, now we go, and heavy on the brakes. Not heavy on the brakes really. You can you flick the car in and hope that it sticks, especially in these conditions as well. Then soft compound tyres going on for R2 beat then, and interesting stuff indeed then for the Alpine driver then in the pit lane as it stands. 12 minutes left of the session, and will the rain dry out then in time for the end of qualifying? Will we see some soft compound tyres here in qualifying at all? Of course, it's a short qualifying, so we've only got we've only got 18 minutes. We've only got 12 minutes left of the qualifying here. As here comes Kiki, sorry, up to the line then in the Racing Bull at 27.2, puts himself P2, and on the front row of the grid then, good stuff indeed. I think it looks like Coop's going for another attempt here. Off he goes then. Off goes the Williams. Good stuff indeed. Equaz as well, unfortunately, has invalidated his time. Then heading down towards Ascari goes Young Lights then in the Kick Sauber. Then let's see what he can do here tonight then. Heading into the Ascari chicane then, flying through then in the green machine then, of course, not a native to Italy anymore. Of course, it used to be the Alfa Romeo team, didn't it, which was not green, but it has changed hands a little bit then, let's just put it that way. And of course we'll change hands again then before the end, or before 2026 as well now, and we will see some more changes then, I think, to this livery for sure in the next few races. Ginner's done a 26.2 then, flying in the Mercedes out there, as here comes Young Lights then up to the line. Let's see what the Kick Sauber can do then, up to the line for the green machine. P5 at 27.5 puts himself into the top half of the points paying positions then. Good stuff indeed. Vessi has done a 27.4, puts himself P3. Mumford a 27.5, P4 as it stands for the Haas driver then. Good stuff indeed. Ginger Rage has done a 28.2 and put himself into P9. Good stuff from Ginger Rage as well. Here comes Gorda, then Gorda coming through into the second Lesmo now in the first attempt then for the Aston Martin driver. Then of course his teammates have switched around I should say then, but so far it is looking good then for Gorda then, as we go through into the Ascari chicane 57.2 for the Aston Martins. We go through the final chicane then, the final real challenging corner of the circuit. Having said that, Parabolica can be challenging as well then, to be fair, but as we go down towards the final corner then, let's see what Gorda can do then in this first attempt of qualifying, with 10 minutes left on the clock then for this grid then to be set. Here we go then for Gorda then up to the line. What's it going to be then for the Aston Martin driver as we head across the line now? And it is a 26.8 then, puts himself P2, and that is actually still 6/10 away from Ginner, who's currently our pole sitter. So that Ginner's done a very good job of practicing in this Grand Prix. And here comes Ginger Rage, and Ginger Rage is flying along then on those intermediate compound tyres, then heading into Parabolica as well. Then here he comes then with the pink helmet then on the car. Very clash of colours then with the orange, but here he comes up to the line. What's it going to be? P5 with the 27.4, and looking very strong indeed once again with some good pace then is Ginger Rage, and very good stuff indeed from the McLaren then. I think that's just down to the drying track then, and nothing down to his abilities and his pace. It must be because of the track evolution. And there we are then, Vessia back in the pits. I think a few drivers are coming back to the pit lane now and thinking that so I think the rain stopped already then. We've got 9 minutes left of the qualifying. I think it might be enough for the drivers to try out those dry compound tyres then, as we go into Ascari then for Gordo. Oh dear, not really into Ascari then. Gordo is skating off the track then. That is dangerous stuff indeed, because Gordo could be in danger of visiting a wall, let's just put it that way. Mumford then is going through down towards Ascari as well then. DRS is now enabled then, so DRS then open then on the Haas car, even on the intermediate compound tyres. It is dry enough now then for the soft compounds to go on those cars now as well then. Kiki's done a 26.1 on the intermediate compound tyres as well then. Of course, this is where we can see the times tumbling in. Then there's a problem for Gordo, I think. Oh no, he's run out of fuel then. He's okay. Good stuff indeed. Then here comes Mumford then. Mumford, will he finish off the lap then, or will he come back into the pit lane and put on a set of soft compound tyres now that DRS has been enabled in this qualifying? Then 8 minutes left of the session. There's time to do 2 runs then on the soft compounds if you want to. And Mumford is coming into the pit lane to sort that out then. Sick as Muck also into the pits right behind as well then, as I think everybody out on track. Lucas Percy's out on soft compound tyres, then R2B on the soft compound tyres as well. That's the Alpine that I wanted. I was looking at that corner and wondering why the Racing Bull went around there, but it was an Alpine right behind us. And there we go then. So there's a soft compound tyres going on. Lucas Percy and R2B both out on track. Then Young Lights also out on track, and the other Kick Sauber on the soft compound tyres. So this is where they're going to call it a day now on the intermediates. Get rid of those green wall tyres and put the red wall tyres on here in the rest of this qualifying session. Well, I suppose you could try and go for the intermediate compound tyres and see where you get. Unfortunately for Kiki, I think that time is going to be beaten with the track drying out then in the rest of this session. And of course, the track will be driest at the very end of the session then. So will anybody try and do a bit of Monza qualifying attempt and try and beat the rest of the pack then to the line, or what will they do in this qualifying in the last few minutes then? Here, 7 minutes left to go then. But of course, now the track has changed from wet to dry, or damp to dry. We'll see what we can do then. Mushroom Me and Mushroom are going to recreate McLaren 1-2 from Italy 2021, says Ginger Rage then. So looking good then. Unfortunately, it's not looking good then for McLaren in terms of the qualifying as it stands, because Ginger Rage is currently P5, which is good, but he is looking to do better than that. And Mushroom has got himself out on track then. Fantastic stuff indeed. We're going to see a side of the Mushroom in qualifying here tonight, which is unprecedented to say the least then. And Mushroom on the soft compound tyres, so a lot of drivers then opting now for the soft compound. R2B unfortunately has invalidated his time. Lucas Percy coming through into the Della Roger chicane now and has gone purple, of course, in sector 1. Then that is, of course, showing that the soft compound tyre is the best tyre to be on now in this qualifying session, and he is looking to get himself his first time on the board. Then going through the first Lesmo, that back end trying to step out there for the kick Sauber. Then now into the second Lesmo we go, and looking more under control on that one. But here we go then down to the Ascara chicane. DRS now available down this straight with the dry conditions now activated, or the DRS now activated in the dry conditions, I should say. Heading through Ascari now for the kick Sauber. Then let's see what he can do then, keeping it all together then, but he's a bit twitchy then, is the kick Sauber then as we go through. Very nice helmet design then, getting a slipstream then from the Aston Martin, sorry, as we go through then down towards Parabolica now then for Lucas Percy. I imagine this is going to be pretty quick, so we'll have to wait and see. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be quicker than the 26.1 then, now that the soft compound tyres are on these cars. Then here he comes out to the line, then it's a 23.8 then for Lucas Percy. Puts himself P1 as it stands. And, oh goodness me, that Aston Martin of Gordo almost went into the back of him there, it looked like. Who we got next across the line is the question. Then his teammate Younglux going through Ascari now. Ferrari of Sickers Muck back in the pit lane then, unfortunately for Sickers Muck, then he's called it a day. Reflection still in the pit lane then. Serious Mushroom then is coming through the first couple of corners then. So where is Young Lights? Young Lights coming through Parabolica now then. Here he comes in up to the line then. It's a 23.1 from Jinner, who puts himself 7/10 of a second ahead of Lucas Percy then. But here comes Young Lights up to the line. It's a 23.6 for Young Lights, then puts himself into P2 and displaces his teammate down to P3 for the time being. But we've just had Coop. We've just had Coop then, a 21.5 from Coop then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Where is Equaz going to go? I'm going to wait for him to cross the line because I think he's going to jump up the order. Is he? Nope. Okay, no, maybe not then, as Coop, oh dear, Coop, oh my goodness me, Coop nearly took out his teammate then, because that was very close indeed between Equaz and Coop. It looked a bit, looked all right actually, to be fair, from the camera on board, but it was not going to be that close, especially at the high speed, going down in towards turn 1 for Equaz. I think he might need to change his underwear a little bit there, but okay, good stuff. An Alpine of R2 Beach starting off a lap then. No, he's finishing off a lap, sorry. It's 23.1 then for R2 Beach. P2 in the Alpine, looking good so far then. Where is Gordo? Gordo crossing the line next is going to be into P2 as well. Then displaces R2 Beach. Then his former teammate, 22.6 then for Gordo, puts himself on the front row of the grid. Brilliant stuff from him. Mushroom, a 23.033, sorry, puts himself P3. Too many threes in that one, but well done indeed then to Mushroom. Then his first qualifying lap of the session, and he's had a bit of a problem then slowing the car down then into the first chicane, but he doesn't need to worry about that too much as he puts himself P3 then. Very good stuff indeed. Jenner back in the pit lane, Young Lights and Percy back in the pits as well. Then Kiki coming through into Ascari now, 3 seconds up on his previous time, which will be pretty good stuff indeed for Kiki if he can keep it all together then, and heading down towards Parabolica as well. I think both the Williams, no, it's not both the Williams, it's Equaz, sorry, coming round Parabolica. That's Coop that's having a bit of a problem then, I think, running out of fuel. Then Equaz back in the pit lane, unfortunately for him, then he's abandoned his lap time there. Here comes Kiki then, Kiki round the final corner. Let's see what he can do then into the, over the start finish line, sorry. It's going to be pole position as it stands, at 21.6 then for Kiki. Fantastic stuff indeed. The track definitely drying out down here. Turn 1 and 2 was still a bit wet on my lap then, so completely nearly cut it, says Percy as well. Then, oh dear, speaking of cutting it, as Ginger Rage is onto the front row of the grid. A 28.1 from Ginger Rage, and fantastic stuff indeed. Hopefully he can stay there, because that will be frightening stuff indeed, heading down towards turn 1 for everybody involved. But Ginger Rage has put himself on the front row as it stands, that is. But I think we're going to have some changes, let's just put it that way, as Sickers Muck then starting off a lap as well. Astrojohn then coming round the final corner. Then let's see what the Astrojohn can do in the Red Bull car. Heading up to the line then, it's going to be a P3 for him, 21.8 for him as well. Then he is 20 thousandths away then from Ginger Rage on the front row of the grid there. But Ginger Rage doing, oh my goodness me, having a bit of a problem going through the Della Roger chicane on his in lap. But nonetheless, looking pretty good indeed. Then Kiki going back in the pit lane now, as is Ginger Rage as well. My goodness me, I think it's the final attempts here in qualifying now for these drivers as well. Then only a few minutes left of the session. I think we can't see because the yellow flags are out then in Sector 3. But Sickers Muck then is on a lap, coming through the first Lesmo and now into the second Lesmo. And that Mercedes needs to get himself out of the way. I think that might be Reflection now. Heading down towards Ascari. And flying towards Ascari then. I think Reflection has got himself out of the way. Good stuff indeed. Heading to the Ascari chicane then for Sick as Muck. Then this is his one and done qualifying lap. He's not going to have time to come back in the pit lane and go again then. Heading down towards Parabolica now, sorry. As we go into the final lap then for Sick as Muck. Then he will, actually maybe he might have time to go back around again if he can save some ERS and some fuel then. Heading through the exit of Parabolica now then. Let's see where the Ferrari will jump up to there. Up to the line then for Sick as Muck. Then it's P1 with a 20.9 then for Ferrari at their home Grand Prix. Can he hold on to that pole position? Then that would be fantastic if he can. Brilliant stuff from Sick as Muck then. Currently on pole position here as he has a bit of a problem then getting himself through the first chicane then. But nonetheless, we go again. He might be able to go again as well then if he can get himself into or save some ERS then and get himself across the line then as we go once again across the line literally. But yes, okay, fair enough. But yes, Sick as Muck then is having he's been caught up by a bit of traffic there as well. But there we go then. Mercedes of Reflection. That's not Reflection, it's Ginner. Reflection is on a lap though. Reflection coming through the Della Roger chicane. Can he get himself a one and done lap then in qualifying? Same for Legend, same for Farf as well then as we go through the final laps of qualifying here in Monza. Mark Smith or Ginner just missed it, or same he said. I think you're referring to when Percy missed it or missed something. Oh goodness me, I'm not quite sure what's happening there. There's a Haas and there's another Haas behind us, and I think they might be trying to get themselves a little tow there down this back straight then as we go onto the back straight now. Yellow flags fluttering for somebody or other. Oh goodness me, there's all sorts of action ahead of us. Then hopefully Reflection can get to the line without any issues as we go into Parabolica now for Reflection as well. Then the final timer is going to tick down very soon, and it's going to tick down now as here comes Reflection and up to the line. What's it going to be for the Mercedes driver? It's pole position then with a 20.3 then for Reflection. Fantastic stuff indeed. Brilliant stuff from Reflection as it stands. Wonderful. Brilliant stuff indeed. Like I said, there's a few drivers out on track to try and improve though. Kiki has not made the line, as has Ginger Rage, and he's still in the pit lane. Astra John then P5, Mushroom P8 then as it stands as well. Then Mumford they're down in P14 unfortunately for the Haas driver then, and same for Legend then. They didn't make the line then. Legend starting from P18 here in this Grand Prix. My goodness me, who is next across the line? It's a Mercedes of Ginner. Then Ginner's back in the pit lane. Ginner's had a problem. Then Ginner's invalidated his time. So he is back in the pits. Then P10 at best. Then for Ginner. Here comes Equaz up to the line. What can Equaz do? It's P2. Then 20.4 for Equaz. Then good stuff indeed. Puts himself on the front row. But can his teammate do anything about that as well? Then as here comes Coop. Then charging to the line as well. Then in the other Williams car up to the line is Coop. Pole position with a 20.1. Then fantastic for Williams. Fantastic for Coop as well. Then brilliant stuff indeed. More drivers across the line. R2 beat P4 on the second row of the grid. There's another Ferrari of Sick as Muck. Displaces R2 beat down to P4 again. But there's more cars crossing the line. Vessia P4 now into the Aston Martin. Lucas Percy P6 as we've got Gordo jumping out the order. Farf's on pole position at 20.1 for Farf. My goodness me. Reflection down to P4. And I think that's qualifying done and dusted. But Farf takes pole position here in Monza with one lap and done then for Farf. And he got it right on the spot then for Farf, then a 20.109, and that is, what is that? Goodness me, I can't do the maths very well there, but I think that's 22 thousandths of a second ahead of Coop, who is P2 then. Brilliant stuff. Need Reflection back in the pit lane. He is done and dusted in qualifying here, and that is the order then of the grid. Then unfortunately for Mumford, didn't get a time in on the soft compound tyres. That lap was invalidated unfortunately for the Haas driver. Both the Haas is starting down the back of the field. Then Ascari got me, says Ginner in the comment section as well. Then so unfortunately for Ginner, then he was caught out then by the Ascari chicane then on those soft compound tyres, and he is going to be starting from P15 on the grid then. But my goodness me, Farf then, his first pole position of the season, and could this be the start then of something new for Farf then in this race as well then? Goodness me, fantastic indeed then. And the Alpine then of Farf takes pole position here in Monza then for his first time this season as well then. First time Alpine has been on the pole position in this season as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed then. Coop on the front row, P2 for him. Gordo in P3. Mercedes with Reflection then in P4. Brilliant stuff from Reflection as well then. Equaz P5. Vessia P6. Lucas Percy in P7. P7, then Sick as Muck P8, R2 Beat P9, Young Lights in P10, Kiki in P11, Ginger Age in P12, Astrojon P13, splitting the McLarens with Mushroom in P14, Gina P15, Mumford, unfortunately, like I said, didn't get a timing on the soft compound tyres, P16 for him, then New Zealand Cam starting from the back of the field, and Legend didn't make it to the line in time. Decent qualifying, says Rocket Lee. Then some parts of the track was a little wet still, says Percy as well. Then so that is what happened then in the final stages of qualifying there. Then what will we have in the race? Hopefully we'll have a nice dry race. But there we are. Yes, we are having a nice dry race to start off with at least. We'll get ourselves underway then for the formation lap. Then we'll be back just in a jiffy with our lovely words from our lovely sponsors. Right then, just about to get ourselves ready for the start of this Grand Prix. 53 laps around the Monza circuit, or the Autodromo di Monza, I think it is called, something like that. Something in Italian, but I can't speak Italian very well, so I'll just say that. But here we are then, ready to get ourselves started, hopefully, waiting for drivers to sort their strategies out and get themselves readied up and go. But Farf, of course, the lobby host, is taking his time because he's pole position, then he wants to wait for as long as possible, it looks like. But we've had enough of a wait then at the start of this lobby, so we can get ourselves cracking now for the Italian Grand Prix, hopefully, unless we've got some sort of issue, but fingers crossed we can get ourselves sorted and started, but there we are. So, yeah, I thought it was my Alpine, says R2P, I think, referring to the patient. Wheel always goes light when up on dry tyres, says in the wet, says Lucas Percy, and that was what's happening on that formation lap then. Okay, as Farf has decided to finally start the formation lap, and immediately started weaving around the place. Brilliant. Right then, we'll switch onto the tyre situation then to see what everyone is starting their races on. And there is not a soft compound tyre in sight here tonight, on the start that is. Legend on the medium compound tyres P18, as is Cam from P17. Mumford on the hards, then P16. Jinner on the hards as well, then P15, as is Mushroom in P14 for the McLaren outfit. Astrojon then medium compound tyres. McLaren have split the strategy then, with Ginger Age starting on the medium compound tyres then, and his teammate then Mushroom on the hards then. So interesting stuff, and people see which one favours the best, or which one is the favourable strategy then as we get ourselves started. Big Hour said those times though are not the quickest, was wet. Yeah, probably. Young Lights then in P10 then, as we go through into the top 10 now. The Young Lights starting on the hard compound tyres. R2 Beat medium compound tyres in P9 then in the Alpine. Sick as Muck hard compound tyres for the Ferrari at his home, well, not his home Grand Prix, but the Italian car's home Grand Prix, or Italian manufacturer's home Grand Prix. Lucas Percy hard compound tyres as well, then P7 for him. Vessia on the mediums then in P6, and Equaz on the hards then in the Williams in P5. Both the Williams opted for the hard compound tyres. Reflection in P4, medium compound tyres. Gordo on the mediums in P3. Coupe then on the front row of the grid then on the hard compound tyres, and our pole sitter then of Farf on the medium compound tyres in the Alpine. We've gone through that very quickly indeed, but we will hopefully finish the formation lap at some point today, so we can get ourselves started for the race itself. Big Hour said wet. It's not. I don't think it's raining for the race. It was raining in the first few minutes of qualifying, but it sort of dried up then towards the end there. But right then, we'll get ourselves hopefully started very soon. A very slow formation lap then from Farf, which hopefully isn't going to be indicative of how his pace is going to be in the race, because we're going to need a very quick start indeed from the Alpine then, if he wants to hold on to that P1 position, that is, as we go through then onto the grid then for the formation lap then to be completed, as we lined up then for the start then for the Italian Grand Prix. Oh, we had a beep, but we've got 5 red lights on here in Monza then. The 5 red lights are on, and the 5 red lights are on the out, and we go away for the Italian Grand Prix. A good start from Favre, going to the inside to cover off Coupe as we go down towards turn 1. Then hopefully they keep it clean then into turn 1. There's all sorts of position changes in the background as we go through the first chicane, and Gordo's got himself ahead then of Coupe as well, then into the first chicane. Both the Williams then banging wheels as we go through the second turn. Young Lights and Sick as Muck then battling away, so Young Lights up 2 places as well. Then Vessier's passing Lucas Percy down the inside, sorry, at Curva Grande. Then Percy stays P7 as it stands into the second chicane, sorry, then, and Gordo is P2. Then he leads the, well, not leads the way, sorry, Favre leads the way, then almost a second then to Gordo as well. Then Favre is sprinting off in the distance here as we go through into the first and second Lesmos now as well. The Favre then almost a second gap then as we go into the second Lesmo. That is a brilliant pace indeed then from the Alpine. Then he's lost the car a bit then as Gordo then trying to hold on then to that DRS gap, which of course DRS now enabled at the end of lap 1 instead of lap 2 then previously. The R2 and Sick as Muck in the battle when Ginger Rage has gone through up into the points paying positions, and brilliant stuff from him. As we head down towards Ascari, then there's a Haas then in the background, then trying to put his nose in somewhere. As oh dear, Sick as Muck. Oh, Mumford then almost losing the car. Then Ginger Rage is gone. Then Ginger Rage is out. Then, oh my goodness me, Ginger Rage has got off the circuit completely, and Sick as Muck was unfortunately a drive-through penalty for Sick as Muck and Cam. Both of them have got off here at the Ascari chicane. And then Ginger Rage, I think, was the cause of all of that then, because he lost the car and somehow he's escaped without any damage as well. Then, my goodness me, Ginger Rage is going to be in the bad books then for Sick as Muck then and for Cam. And of course the penalties then for Sick as Muck then will be able to be removed then after the race then. But my goodness me, action galore then at the first Ascari chicane. Then Mumford's had an issue. Has he? He's ghosting then, is Mumford, as he's battling with Kiki then and Serious Mushroom. Then into the pits comes Sick as Muck then and New Zealand Cam as well then to sort out their cars after that fiasco then at the Ascari chicane. Then I think they were just caught up in the incident then behind Ginger Rage, who had a big spin and has somehow come out unscathed there. But my goodness me, it's definitely punished Cam and Sick as Muck, unfortunately, then on that start. But they were innocent bystanders, unfortunately, of that situation. Then hopefully they get themselves back underway and back in this race then later on, as we've still got quite a few laps to go through here in Monza. But it is a very fast-paced circuit indeed. Then Gordo has been able to get himself back in contention with Favre. Then Favre couldn't escape the DRS then of the Aston Martin. Both the Williams then lying in proximity as we go through towards Parabolica to finish off lap 2. There's a gap forming between R2 Beat and Astrodron, then 2.8 seconds. The gap then between the top 9 and the rest of the field. Then Lucas Percy's got himself past Reflection into Parabolica, now up into P6 then for the Kick Sauber as we go through. Mumford and Kiki switching places, then Mumford then dropping down to P15, but he's on the hard compound tyres, then he might be able to come back then later on in this race. Lucas Percy sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix in P6 then, but Favre has lost the lead. Then Gordo's got himself up into pole position then in this race, onto lap 3 now. Good stuff indeed. Then Legend, I think, passing Mushroom into the first chicane as well, as this group of cars then have been dropped then by the top 9 as it stands. Then Jenner has got himself up into P10 now, but now he's got a 3-second gap almost to get himself into contention then for some more points paying positions then further up the order. Then we'll have to wait and see if he can get himself back in that fight. We come through the De La Roda chicane now. Good stuff indeed from the rest of the field then. Unfortunately, Sick as Muck, I think he's got a drive-through penalty for that collision, wasn't it? Yes, it is a drive-through penalty then, so he will serve that and get that sorted. We will remove that after the race. Remove the time lost then from the pit stop, that is, as we go back to we'll go to the tyre situation. Then Sick as Muck is now driving through the pit lane then very slowly, of course, indeed, but hoping to get himself back underway very quickly indeed as well, as he's on fresh medium compound tyres. Gordo then is taking the lead, then hard compound tyres then for both of the Williams drivers, then staying P3 and P4, but here comes Coupe on the attack then with Favre as we head down towards Parabolica now. And no moves being made there, but the top 3 are putting the pressure on. Then Reflections being passed by Young Lights as well, then through Parabolica up into P7. Now goes the Kick Sauber. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then can he chase after his teammate and the rest of the field? Astrodron and Legend then battling side by side as we go over the line then to start off lap 4 for the 2 of them. Then as we go through onto the main straight, then R2 Beat and Reflection. Oh dear, what's happened? R2 Beat has gone straight on there and through the polystyrene as well. Then Lucas Percy's also off the circuit, and not quite sure what happened there, but that was my goodness me, what is going on? R2 Beat is ghosting and dropping down the order then as well, as I think him and Lucas Percy have had some sort of issue together there, and R2B has let everyone go through. Then unfortunately it is well, whatever happened there, it was definitely on the Alpine, it seems like, because he is the one who's letting everyone through. Then Cam set the fastest lap to race. Then he, of course, is on the soft compound tyres after having an enforced stop then at the end of lap 1, thanks to Ginger Rage. But Ginger Rage is actually caught up to the back of the queue now. 3 seconds separates Ginner and the top 7. Then Legend has passed Astrojon, then into Ascari, then up into P9, sorry, for Legend, and now trying to chase after Ginner as well. So can the gaps close up again? We'll have to wait and see then. With all the action heading into turn 1, it seems like R2B got a bit excited there, let's just say that, and unfortunately had a bit of a problem then slowing the car down, we'll just put it that way. Farf is under pressure from Coop, then Farf trying to catch up to Gordon and retake the Grand Prix lead as we head towards the first chicane. Vessia and Ekman switching places, then Coop's gone down the inside then of Farf. Later on the brakes though is the Alpine, goodness me, then Coop then slams the brakes on there into turn 1, then holds on to the place, then oh dear, Vessia's got a ghosting problem there. Ekman's down to P5, then Vessia's got himself ahead now of Equaz, as we've got more action. Then Astrojon and Kiki then battling away, then goodness me, Legend's gone through into P10 now. Astrojon leads the train now, trying to catch up to Ginner, then trying to catch up to the top 7. Ginner's in a bit of no man's land as it stands in the middle. In P8 then currently 2.8 seconds behind and 2.5 seconds ahead. So we'll have to wait and see then what's going to change there as we go through then into the next part of this fight. Then 5 laps complete, or 4 laps completed. Still quite a long way to go then in this Grand Prix, let's just put it that way. So Mushroom now the lead McLaren on the hard compound tyres. They're going to have to hope that they can get somebody ahead then who can use their pace to try and catch up to the top of the order then, who've split off now from the rest of the pack then. Reflection has lost out then to the DRS then. Oh, he's got himself back in, I think, there, which is good stuff indeed then. Hopefully he can get himself stay within that 1 second window then, Reflection of Equaz, but unfortunately not then down towards the Parabolica. So he's not going to have the DRS then to play with then down the main straight here, but Coop will. Can Coop go for the lead then onto lap 6 here? R2B has passed Mumford then into P14, down the back of the order then into Parabolica now. Here comes Coop then on the charge. Can he get moved then for P1 into the first chicane? He looks for it, but not quite. He's too far back. So he stays behind for the time being, and very nice and tidy then from the top 5 as we go into the first chicane. Then Reflection and Young Lights haven't been able to switch places then into the first turn. So Young Lights then is stuck behind the Mercedes for the time being. He's on the medium compound tyres as Reflections. He's going to have more pace at this stage of the Grand Prix than those on the hards, you'd imagine. But we'll have to wait and see then where it's going to work out then, of course, as we go into the second chicane and the Della Roger chicane now as well. Then good stuff so far for the rest of the field. Then unfortunately for Cam and Sick as Muck, they're trying to catch up. Then Legends had a problem out the Della Roger chicane. That's lost him a bit of time then to Ginner as we go through then on lap 6. Then Ginner's closing that gap into the top 7 slightly here as we go through now as well. Then flying through down to Ascari. Then Cooper's taken the lead of the Grand Prix, then heading into Ascari. Then he's got himself up into P1 now as Coop. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then there we are, then flying through the Ascari chicane. Then very nice camera angle indeed from the Codemasters. Very good stuff from them. Best stuff they've done so far today. That's all I can say, really. But fantastic indeed. Of course, there's a bit of a switch in strategy between the mediums and the hards. Which one will be the best tyre to start the Grand Prix on, and which one will be the best strategy to finish the race at the quickest time on as well. Lap 7 now commences here as we go down the main straight once again. Then can Gordo reclaim the lead into the first turn? Goodness me, there's all sorts of weaving going on there, but thankfully Gordo's got himself through, has he? Yes, he has. Good stuff from Gordo. Back up into the race lead now, but still under pressure from the Williams of Coop. Then both the Williams in close proximity, both the Aston Martins in close proximity, and Favre is there as well. Goodness me. Oh dear, Legend, somebody's skipping over the chicane there, I think, but Legend and Astrojon then having a bit of a battle as well between the two of them as we go through into the Curva Grande as well. Now here comes the Red Bull, here comes the Haas, sorry, and putting the Red Bull under pressure. Then Kiki has been passed by Lucas Percy now as we go into the Della Roger chicane. Is Lucas Percy going down the inside there? Not quite. Then he thinks better of it then and goes up to P11, then passing Kiki, then now putting the pressure on the Haas then of Legend as we go into the first and second Lesmos now. My goodness me. Right then, Sick as Muck unfortunately has had a horrible start to this Grand Prix, but hopefully it will come back to him later on in this race. We will find out then as we go through. Lucas Percy trying to get himself back into the points paying positions then after whatever happened with him and R2 beat into the first chicane a few laps ago now, but into Ascari now we go then heading through. They're very nicely done indeed, and of course Lucas Percy is no mean feat. Then there's no challenge yet undone then as we've got a problem for a Haas. It's Mumford I think at the exit of Ascari. Then Legend's been passed by Lucas Percy into the top 10. Now goes Percy and back up into the top 10 I should say then as we go past the Haas then into Parabolica now. Can he challenge for P9 here in this Grand Prix? Out in the top of the order, goodness me, I've missed it. Farf, Gordo and Coop all battling then into turn 1 and 2. Then there's contact between the two of them there, and my god, then Farf no stranger to putting his elbows out, and I thought Gordo was being paid the brunt of that, put it that way, and put him down to P3 here into the first quarter and two I should say, then heading towards the Della Roger chicane. Then can Gordo fight back then, or will he fight back then into the second chicane though, and no moves being made between the top 3 or top 5 I should say then, goodness me. Into the pits comes Mumford, then Mumford changing the is he changing a front wing then? I'm not quite sure. He's had a problem there somewhere at Ascari. Legends had a problem with R2 Beat, and R2 Beat has got himself into a bit of a battle then with Astrodron, I think, there as well then. Goodness me, heading through the first Lesmo now as well then. Legend has got himself past R2 Beat and up into P10. They've lost out to Lucas Percy, who's now got a 5-second gap to try and catch up to Jinner, who is still in a bit of no man's land. He's 2 seconds behind Young Lights now, and he is trying to get himself into the fight then with the top 7 as well then. 2 seconds away then currently. Lucas Percy going to have to put on a few laps of his life then, a few qualifying laps let's just say then, for Lucas Percy trying to get himself back in contention as well then for some bigger points then. But of course he's on the hard compound tyres, he'll be going longer in this first stint then, and might be able to get himself a bit more of a challenge then later on in this Grand Prix as well then. Heading through now into Parabolic, and then lap 9 has commenced here as R2 Beat is challenging. Then we've got more changes at the top of the order. Then here comes Gordo, here comes Farf, here comes Vessia, here comes Coop. As we head into turn 1, then the Williams has got the lead into the first chicane. Then goodness me, there's contact between the Alpine and the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. Sorry, Reflection's been involved then as well. Then Young Lights goes round the outside of Vessia, and my goodness me. That was action-packed, let's just put it that way, and that's going to help Jinner try and catch up, then trying to reel in this top 7 as well then as we go through into the Della Roger chicane. Now there is the Mercedes right behind us there, right behind the queue here for the top 7. Then all the top 7 within half a second of each other pretty much, which is pretty good stuff indeed. Then Lucas Percy trying to get himself caught to catch up to the battling as well. Then Legends had a problem, then Legends been passed by R2 Beat, then into the first Lesmo and through the chicane. Then unfortunately for the Haas, then a bit unsettled, it looked like over the curbs. Then Kiki now P12 then trying to put the pressure on the hard compound tyres. Astrodron then is on the medium compound tyres, and Serious Mushroom is at the back of this queue, but just biding his time then at the moment in McLaren. Ginger Rage is 2 seconds back then in the other McLaren P15 for him. Then Mumford's pit for the medium compound tyres. He's half a minute behind, sorry, at this stage. Not quite sure if there was a wing change there for Mumford. He had a bit of a problem at the Ascari chicane there, but he's back underway and trying to get himself back into this race, settle back into this race. And Farf picks up the first penalty then at the Parabolic corner, unfortunately for Farf. Not quite sure how that's happened, but he is battling on nonetheless. And unfortunately down to P5 as Reflection takes P4. Then Gordo's taken back the lead then into the first turn. And yes, he has done it. Good stuff indeed then for Farf battling back then with Reflection, then takes back that P4 position as well then as we head on to lap 10 here. My goodness, people are flying through this race. I probably cursed it now. We're going to have a safety car, but so far everyone's done a fantastic job in this Grand Prix. Then hopefully the likes of Mumford, New Zealand Cam and Sick as Muck can get themselves back in this race in the next few laps or so. But my God, then there's all sorts of battling as Equaz has got himself past Coop there and up into P2. Then Equaz now takes the lead of the Williams duo as we head into the second Lesmo now as well. Then Farf down to P4, but still all over the back then of the Williams pair. Then as they're all over the back of Gordo as well. Then Reflection now in this battle too in P5, then Young Lights P6, Vessia P7, then Jinner is only 1.6 seconds behind but has no DRS to try and catch up then at this stage. Then 6 seconds back is Lucas Percy. Young Lights picks up a penalty then going through the Ascari chicane. Then this penalty starting to roll in now as they get themselves more laps into this Grand Prix and heading down towards Parabolica for the 10th time here. And my goodness me, the pace has been set then. It's been pretty high indeed. Then there's contact in the back there, and I think there was an Alpine. It was both Young Lights and Reflection involved as well then, but thankfully they're all okay and have all escaped as well then without any issues. But there's all, oh my goodness me, look at this then, look at this battling then. Reflection and Young Lights switching places. Then here comes Vessia as well down the inside. And, oh, God, late on the brakes. Then make sure you get your braking point right. Then Farf and Young Lights come together. Then Vess is diving down the inside there into P5. Is he? I can't see. There we go then. Young Lights holds on to P5 for the time being, but the Aston Martin of Vessi then round the Curva Grande then is looking to put the moves on the kick salver as quickly as possible, then into the Delarada chicane, but not quite then. And Ginner has almost caught up. Then look at him, he's so close now. Yes, he has caught up, I think, there, and well done to Ginner with what pace he's shown then in this race then to get himself back in contention. And the top 8 now strung together with some DRS as well then. 6 seconds back is Lucas Percy, then R2B in P10, then Legend, Astrojon and Kiki. Kiki's had an issue, then he's been passed by Mushroom, then Mushroom up into P13 on the hard compound tyres, then back underway he goes. But Kiki then having an issue out of the chicane, then has lost a place then to Mushroom as we go through lap 11 now as well, then flying down towards Ascari. And Mushroom is putting the pressure on Astrojon then here for P12, then yes, he goes through and up into P12, then out in front we've had more changes. Coop and Gordo then switching places, then we go into Parabolic. Around the outside goes the Williams, then down the inside goes the Aston, as we got a good view there from we've got a great view then from the Alpine of Farf in P4, and then putting the pressure on Equaz here as we go down the main straight then towards turn 1. Then my goodness me, could it be a triple overtake? Could it be 3 wide into turn 1? Not quite then, as oh god, Farf's gone late on the brakes, then Farf's pushing out the Williams through the corner there. My god. And Young Lights and Farf are joined together at the hip then as well. Then yeah, Kiki's had a problem. Kiki's out of the race then. And what's happened to Kiki then? Kiki's on the straight. There's a safety car. My god, that's going to be great news indeed for Sick as Muck then, and for New Zealand Cam and Mumford. Astro John has gone slowly. Then Serious Mushroom's gone through. Not quite sure what has happened there, but Kiki out of the race then on the main straight, it looked like. So that's a bit odd, but okay. Right then, lap 12 now has commenced. Safety car is out then, but it hasn't picked up the leaders. Hopefully Cam, Mumford and Sick as Muck then all stay out then and catch up to the queue rather than pitting then. Sick as Muck needs to stay out then and make sure he doesn't fall behind the race leaders here, and to just keep on going then in this next stint until he catches up to the safety car queue. Then both the other two, oh dear, he's coming into the pit lane. Oh no. We saw this in gold, and I just don't understand. You need to think about your actions and what you're doing then on track then, and unfortunately this is going to cost Sick as Muck then absolutely massively, because if he just stayed out one more lap he'd be absolutely fine, and he could just cruise around then to the next to the back of the safety car queue, but it is just not going to work out in his favour, I don't think, unless there is pit stops thankfully for the race leaders, and Sick as Muck hopefully can get himself out of the pit lane ahead of the net race leader. Both Equaz, Young Lights and Ginner have stayed out. Then Coop is in the pit lane then from the hard compound tyres, medium compound tyres going on the Williams car. Farf also in the pits then. Gordo's gone for the medium compound tyres again as well. So there's all sorts of changes and dropping and changes as well. Then Astrojon has stayed out on medium compound tyres. Coop coming out in P5. Both the McLarens into the pit lane as well there. And Coop coming out in P5, then Gordo P6, Farf in P7, Reflection P8, then Vessia P9, Lucas Percy in P10. His teammate of course Young Lights has stayed out. RTB then P11 then in the Alpine. And there we go then. Legend also on the hard compound tyres. The McLaren have switched their tyres around now. Medium compound tyres for Serious Mushroom, hard compound tyres for Ginger Age. Mumford then has almost caught up then to the back of the queue, and thankfully has stayed out as well then, which is ideal. So good stuff from Mumford. Then Cam has also stayed out as well then, using, oh dear, he's definitely using up those tyres then into the first turn then with the brakes locking up there. But of course has used his brain very well then indeed then as Cam then, because he's going to catch up to the safety car queue and then have time to pit, and he won't have lost any places at all. Then Sick as Muck could have carried on as well then. He's now going to have to do at least 3 laps on the hard compound tyres when they could have been fresh hard compound tyres by the time he got himself back round, but nonetheless is still on the lead lap as well here, but it's going to take quite a while to catch himself up in this Grand Prix. But there we are then. Penalties are the situation then for Young Lights and for Farf. 3 seconds then a piece then for those two drivers as well then. Nobody else has got any penalties just yet then, but they might have picked up some warnings in the first few laps or so. We'll have to wait and see then what's happened there. Kiki out of the Grand Prix, unfortunately then having a bit of a problem then, it looked like, at the start-finish line. So interesting stuff from Kiki there, but fair enough. Safety car out then. We've got another pit stop then from Astrodron. Then Astrodron has gone an extra lap then, unfortunately, for Astrodron. He's going to be dropping down the field quite drastically. But he decided to call it a day on medium compound tyres. Maybe didn't want to double stack them behind his non-existent teammate. So there we are, as we've got hard compound tyres going on the Red Bull now. Right then, Ginger Age will take back that P13 position. And we've got a pit stop then for Cam, who is coming into the pits now as well. So, like I said, Cam doing a good job then, making sure he called up on safety car queue and then got himself onto a fresh set of tyres. They're going to be very much warmer and much fresher then as we get ourselves, as he gets himself back on the queue then. Unfortunately for Sicker's Mark, he's going to have done 3 laps, like I said, on the hard compound tyres, when he could have just carried on then on the older tyres for another couple of laps like Cam has done, and caught up to the safety car and then pitted and have much warmer and then ready tyres for the restart of this race as well. Right then, top 3 haven't pitted. They're all on the hard compound tyre as well then, as we go through the second Lesmo now, and waiting for the likes of Cam and Sicker's Muck to just catch up to the safety car queue then, but it won't be too long before they do. Hopefully, that is, but we will see. But the safety car then heading down towards Ascari on lap 14 of 53 here. So far, it has been a pretty frantic start, especially for the top of the order. Then the top 8, like I said, at that point in the race, were absolutely all over the place, weren't they? Well, they weren't all over the place. They were very much in a DRS train, let's just say that then. But they were pretty much chained together as well then by less than half a second between each car. And if we can see that carry on, then I'm sure we will, because we're going to have to see what the strategy is going to be like then for those on the hard compound tyre in the top 3 who have stayed out then in this race. This safety car coming around lap 11 then, which was a bit too early then for those runners then on the hard to come into the pit lane, I would imagine, and that they have decided not to, of course. Right then, Cam has caught up to the queue, or will do in just a jiffy, then going through Parabolica now, and we get ourselves through. I love getting straight lined, says Percy. I think that's what happened between himself and R2 Beat then, but R2 Beat then, it seemed, didn't have any control of his car. Well, I couldn't see what was happening, to be fair, but there we are. So good stuff. Sicker's Muck then in P17 then is trying to catch up to the queue as well, and I think has just about done that as well. Good stuff indeed. So hopefully we'll be back underway at the end of lap 15 then on to lap 16, and we can crack on then with force and green flag running once again. Right then, so 15 laps complete then. We're almost at the first sector distance and the first third of the race completed, and we'll see what happens next. So we've got to wait and see what happens next. Once the safety car lights go out, then he will be trundling back into the pit lane and getting out of our way and getting out of our sight, hopefully, for the rest of this race. 53 laps then with 15 completed. We will have, what will we have exactly? We'll have about 38 laps of racing to go as we go through into Ascari very shortly, and hopefully that notification will come up then saying that the safety car is going to get himself back in the pit lane and out of the way. Good stuff indeed, yes he is. Right then, Burnt Mylander, get out of our sight, and we've got the safety car lights off. Then Coop now is, Ekmaz is the de facto safety car leader, race leader. What is it? Yeah, safety car basically, isn't he? Now he sets the pace before that safety car has got himself into the pit lane, making sure there is enough of a gap before he starts off the race. Then as Astrodron and Cam are deciding to overtake each other under the safety car, which is brilliant. But there we go. Right then, Equaz, when will he drop the hammer and go is the question. Waiting for Burnt Mylander to get himself parked up in the pits, but he is back in the pits now, just about. So Equaz can drop the hammer and go. But when will he go is the question. He is not going just yet. But my goodness me, hopefully it's not at one of those restarts. But he has gone now, I think, then. So he has got himself sorted, and back underway we go then on to lap 16 here. Young Lights then in P2 then is going to get himself a bit of a tow then, and some DRS to play with down towards turn 1 potentially. Equaz defending the inside, yes, into turn 1 we go. Then Young Lights has the inside for turn 2. There's contact between the two of them, and they go through side by side. Then down the order, then Vessia has been passed by Lucas Percy, I think there. Yes, no, he hasn't, because Vessia's fighting back then through the Curva Grande. More action out in front, then Young Lights and Equaz then battling side by side, then in towards the Della Roger chicane. Now down the inside goes Young Lights. Is he going to make the move? Oh, goodness me, it's quite close indeed, but they both left room. They both left room, but Coop's now coming down the inside into the first Lesmo here and takes P2 away from the kick salver. There's a Aston Martin of Gordo on the medium compound tyres as well. Then goodness me, he's got through into the second Lesmo, and Young Lights dropping down 2 places there. Medium compound tyres for Coop and for Gordo as well. Then they're going to be much faster, I think, especially compared to the old hard compound tyres for those who have stayed out. Then those top 3 at the restart, that is, heading into the Ascara chicane. Then Coop takes the lead of the Grand Prix there on the fresh medium compound tyres. Legend picks up a penalty. Then we've also had Reflection pick up a penalty in P8 as well. And we go through then into lap 17 very shortly. Right then, Williams 1-2 stands, then Gordo P3, then Young Lights in P4. Has got a penalty to his name though, but he will be looking to just not worry about that too much and carry on then in his race. Then Equaz has been passed by Gordo as DRS has now been re-enabled then after the safety car has gone in for 1 lap or so. As looks like Gordo's going down the inside here into turn 1. Then Coop laid on the brakes, then trying to cover off the move. Then on the outside, he's got the inside for turn 2. Oh, Equaz then on the traction has lost the car slightly. Then the Young Lights has been boxed in behind, and unfortunately for Equaz, that cost him an opportunity to try and battle then with Gordo. I think then into the Curva Grande, and Ginner is going for it. Young Lights is right there as well then as we go into the Della Roger chicane. Oh, goodness me. There's contact between the two of them. They've lost a bit of time there. They're still side by side as we go through into the first Lesmo now, and Ginner's got it. Has he got it is the question. That these two are on old hard compound tyres, and Lucas Percy's had a problem. Lucas Percy's out of the race, then Reflections out of the Grand Prix, and so is not Percy. Percy's not out of the race. Legend's got a 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Mushroom. And, my God, Lucas Percy's dropping down the field. He's having a horrible race out there. The VSC, safety car, not safety car, sorry, at this stage. But, yes, horrible stuff indeed for, and we've got Reflection out of the Grand Prix as well then, my God. What a Monza Grand Prix we're having here tonight then. Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. Right then, hopefully Percy can get himself sorted and onto a new front wing. Unfortunately, I don't know who else was caught up in that apart from Reflection there, but they both slowed down then because I think there was battling going on ahead of them, and into the pits comes R2B, Vessia, Legend, Lucas Percy into the pits as well, slowing the car down just in time as well then. VSC, so it's not a full safety car just yet then. Oh, it's gone away already then. Brilliant stuff indeed. Ginner has been passed by Farf. He has then. Farf up into B5 now on the fresh hard compound tyres, and back underway we go then. Young Lights has lost 2 seconds with all of that to the top 3 then. The top 3 trying to scamper away out here. We've got both Williams and a Aston Martin of Gordo. Using the cameras past Mushroom, has he? Yes, he has. Then up into the Della Roger chicane. Then Sick as Muck passing Astra John. There's contact between the two of them there, and they've both gone off the circuit there as well. Brilliant stuff indeed. And we go back on, and Astra John has taken back the place then, which is illegal because that was definitely caused by Astra John in the Red Bull making contact there, and he has let Sick as Muck go back through. Then Favre has got back past Young Lights, then up past Young Lights, then up into P4, and unfortunately for Reflection, he's left the session, and I think he was caught up in that incident there that caused the DNF then, but caused Lucas Percy's wing change. Legends had an issue somewhere as well. I think he had to didn't double stack in the pit lane, but he's had some sort of issue somewhere as well, and is down in P16 here. Lucas Percy has not changed his front wing, unfortunately, there, so that front wing has not been fixed then on the kick Sauber, unfortunately, as well. Then out in front, then Gordo going for the race lead then on lap 19. Here he is then up into P1, takes the lead away from the Williams pair, as we've got a trio now going for the race lead. Then Young Lights passing Farf then into turn 1, and he's got himself back up into P4 now as well then. Good stuff indeed. Ginner is waiting in the wings as well then. Ginner, of course, yet to pit. Same for Young Lights as well then. Mumford has caught up to the battle here as well. Cam has caught up to the battle too, as has Mushroom. Ginger Age is into the top 10 once again then, 3.6 seconds away from his teammate as it stands then. Sick as Muck is 3.3 seconds behind the McLaren for that final points paying position as it stands, that is. But there's more pit stops then. Lucas Percy's in the pit again then to sort out that front wing. Then Legend has gone through. Lucas Percy trying to get that front wing sorted sorted now and back underway then. With the situation that we've been in this race so far, only 20 laps in or so, we're probably going to see another safety car very soon. So hopefully Percy can stay in the race then for the next few laps at least. Farf then passing Young Lights then for P4 into the Ascara chicane then. These two goodness me, Young Lights have gone very far off the circuit there on these old hard compound tyres. These two battling has cost Ginner and Mumford a bit of time then to the top of the order then as we go through into the parabolic and there, and Young Lights has put his nose in there, and that is definitely not an overtaking place, and especially when you're that far back. Gordo's at the fastest lap of the race then, but Coop is holding on to the Aston Martin as we go into turn 1. Has he got the position is the question. Yes, he has then. Good stuff indeed. Then Young Lights and Farf then still battling away then as we go into turn 1 as well, right behind us in P4 then, and slowing the car down just in time then was Farf. Oh my goodness me, Mumford having a bit of a lag issue then, and has got himself up into P7 somehow. I think he was in P7 anyway, but Cam is now caught up to the battle of this pack, I should say then. So is Mushroom as well then as we go through then. Here we are then as unfortunately for Lucas Percy, he's now right down to the back of the field, but now he's on the soft compound tyres. Hopefully he can set the timing sheets alight then and get himself back in contention as well, then, especially if there's a safety car like we saw an earlier a few laps ago, that is. Classical Tunes has said we'll go Mushroom and Dive Bombs. Classical Tunes has said that Casper said how I get 10 seconds stop go for driving into a cloud. Oh dear, I think he's got a 10-second stop go there somewhere. And maybe that's why he's so far back then as well then. But like I said, those sort of penalties can be removed after the race with a copy of your race director. But there we go then, lap 20 of 53 then, goodness me. Right, they usually finish about 9:30, but I think we're going to be finishing a bit earlier than that, even with a safety car or two. As we go through Parabolica there, and Farf squeezing the Alpine through a gap there between a Mercedes and between a Kicksauber somehow, and he's got himself up into P4. Cam has passed Mumford here as well. Then Cam is involved in all of this battling as well. Then Farf and Young Lights then at the lead of this quartet, then or lead of this queue. As we go through the first chicane, then there's contact between Farf and Young Lights again, and Young Lights is ghosted now, and Ginner is inside of him, and we go through the Curva Grande once again then. My goodness me. Farf, like I said, not one to leave the opportunity open, let's just put it that way. And Mumford is trying to squeeze down the inside here, and goodness me, there's contact between New Zealand Cam and Mumford's gone off the circuit. Thankfully Mushroom got himself through there unscathed, but that was dicey to say the least, let's just put it that way. And Cam's gone off the track there at the first Lesmo, sorry. And yeah, oh my god, it is spicy meatballs out here pretty much then. But then the top two have scampered away now, sorry. Ekraz then on the older hard compound tyres has lost 3.8 seconds then to his teammate and Gordo, who are there in the foreground now flying into Parabolica. There is Ekraz in a bit of no man's land as it stands then, with far off behind us, 2 seconds behind. Ginner then waiting in the wings, and he is next to challenge for P4. Young Lights has dropped down to P6, then Cam now into P7, Mushroom into P8 then, and Mumford then holding on to the back of his queue in P9 then. 3.5 seconds back is Ginger Rage, and he is in a fight of his own at the moment for P10. Out in front then, Gordo is taking back the lead then, ahead of Coop then into the first chicane. Then these two switching over the roles for the race lead then, it looks like at this stage of the Grand Prix, and maybe just trying to work together then at this stage as well then as we go through into the first chicane for this battling pack then, this whatever it's called, a bombarding through the first sector now, let's just put it that way. But Mumford then hopefully can hold on to the queue here, because if he can't, then that will be a bit detrimental to his pace then in the rest of the stint, especially on slightly older medium compound tyres as well then. Heading through then into the De La Rocha chicane, and Young Lights is back past Jenner then up into P5. Have they, oh goodness me, I thought Cam was going to go down the inside of Jenner then. That is not a overtaking position, sir. And we go through there, unless the other car has definitely got a bit of a problem, but Jenner has not got a problem. He's just trying to keep the back end in check there. Young Lights then down towards the Ascara chicane. The Farf has almost got a 1 second gap then over Young Lights, and Young Lights is going to have to try and burn the ERS then to try and get himself back in that 1 second window as we go through the Ascara chicane. He's got himself back under that 1 second delta, which is what he needs. But now Farf then trying to power away then down towards Parabolica here as well then. Out in front then, the gaps, the battling pack still the battling duo is still going on. We're looking back at this battle here because this is where it's all the action as we go through into into Parabolica once again then to finish off lap 22. Right then, 30 laps remain at the end of this Grand Prix. No, thank you. End of this lap, I should say. Young Light's trying to cover the inside then from Jinner, who's going to go around the outside. Then he's gone deep. Then he's gone to the back of Farf, and he's spun the car. And unfortunately for Jinner, that was too late. $1 short and $1 short, pretty much there, wasn't it? And he has dropped down. Oh God, he's spun the car again. Then he's lost the front wing as well. Then this Jinner, in a bit of frustration there, I think, has the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, then trying to get himself back underway quickly enough. Then he's on the grass here, which is not going to help his traction. He is back underway. Then P12 for the time being. Then, but unfortunately, that has cost him quite dearly indeed. R2 then has pitted for fresh medium compound tyres. Is still 12 seconds back now. The Delta sorted itself out, but I think Gino will have to come into the pit lane and sort that front wing out there. He's missing completely that right end plate now on the Mercedes, unfortunately for him. Lucas Percy still soldering right out there as well. Fair play to Lucas Percy for keeping going in this Grand Prix as well. Then on the soft compound tyres, here comes the double duo, the battling duo, as we go through into Parabolica now to finish off lap 23. Coupe then in P2. And as Lucas Percy got a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits there, but I wouldn't worry, because that will be will be able to be reviewed after the Grand Prix, let's put it that way, for Lucas Percy, because I don't think that would seem to be on a main straight, that is. So I'm not quite sure how you get a 10-second penalty for that, but I think he'll have to serve that in the pit lane as well then. So unfortunately for Lucas Percy, it is not going his way tonight then in this race, but again, that penalty can be removed and reviewed. And my goodness me, Favre has lost out to both Young Lights and Cam, and into the first chicane we go then. There's side by side. Favre has stuck his nose in there as well. Then there's 3 wide as we go through into Curva Grande then. And Cam has got himself ahead, I think, there just about then in the racing ball. Has he? Yes, he has. I think just about then, but only just about, as we go into the Della Roger chicane now as well. Then Young Lights only starting into P5, then far P6 I should say then, but he's going back through. My goodness me, there's contact, and Favre has got himself back up into P5 as well there. Jesus, it's getting spicy indeed, let's just say that. But they need to remember there's still about 29 laps to go after this one, as we go down towards Ascari now once again then, halfway through this race, almost, I should say. This race is getting hot, moving a lot of air, says classical tunes then. Yes, Cam then has got a 3-second penalty then going through the Ascari chicane. Then this penalty starting to rack up here in this Grand Prix as we get to the halfway stage. Cam then trying to chase down Equaz then for that P3 position then, or that final podium place as it stands then into the Parabolica turn then. And now Farf, Young Lights, Mushroom, Mumford, Ginger Rage a bit too far back to try and battle just yet, but they're all in a bit of a queue here, and there they are in the background there into the first turn. Then Cooper's taken the race lead then ahead of Gordo into the first chicane. But this is the battle then once again then heading into the first chicane. Here comes Young Lights, late on the brakes then. He's gone through just about. I think he has just about. Yeah, no love lost there between the Kick Sauber and the Alpine cars. We go now into Curva Grande then. Up into P5 goes Lights. Then he is behind Cam. Cam is 1.6 seconds behind the Williams of Equaz as it stands. And there we go then into the Della Roger chicane then. Good stuff indeed. Then when will we see more stops to come then? Jinner is in the pit lane. I think he's only just sorted out that front wing as well then, has Jinner. So he's been going through quite a long time then with that broken wing, and coming out of the pit lane now behind Legend here as well, then heading down towards the first turn. Then out in front we've got Farf and Lights then battling away once again. Then Farf has taken back the place then ahead of the Kick Sauber as we go through Ascari this time, and now trying to put the charge then on the racing bull then of New Zealand Cam, who's almost caught himself up to the battling pack of battling Williams, I should say. Then he was on his own pretty much for quite a long time then, was Equaz, but he's got himself just outside of DRS as it stands then. Out in front, here comes Gordo once again, then back into the race lead then for the Aston Martin. These two switching places then lap after lap then down this main straight here, and I think, like I said, working together, they've got an 8-second gap then over P3 of Equaz as we go through into the first turn. Then down the back of the order then there is Young Lights looking to shape for a move then down the inside of Farf on the brakes. Then he's got the move then up into P5 now. Good stuff indeed. Farf doing a good job then of avoiding any issues then, and not losing too much time through the first chicane, battling away. Now we've got Mushroom. Now we've got Mumford as well then in this queue, and they're all trying to sort themselves out then for P3 now as they've caught up to Equaz here, who's on older 25 lap old hard compound tyres here as well. Then goodness me, of course, yet to pit then in this Grand Prix is Equaz, even after the safety car on lap 11 then, and the VSC on lap 16, I believe it was. Goodness me, it's been absolutely epic, this race so far, but like I said, it's been been a bit of a race of attrition as well, then let's just put it that way as well. But that is Monza for you, isn't it? In Grand Prix racing, it is usually one of those epics as we go through, as Coop, I think he's going for a move then into Parabolica, not quite then. We go through into the Ascari chicane then for this, what is it now? How many cars are in this fight? There's quite a few of them, but there we are. As it stands, they're all doing a very good job then indeed as we go into the Parabolica then for lap 26. Heading on to lap 27 shortly. Cam then up into P4, then can he line up a move then for a podium place here? He is going to go down the main straight then with some DRS to play with, then Equaz then harvesting a bit of energy then as we go into towards turn 1, but I think Cam is a bit too far back to make the move into the braking zone as we go into the braking zone now, and Young Light's then sticking his nose in there slightly, but he is not close enough to make the move then, and Farf now trying to switch back here. Farf trying to switch back then through the Curva Grande, then can he go side by side with Lights then through the turn 3? Yes, he can. He has gone side by side with him. Oh my goodness me, there's contact then. The Young Lights almost turned into the Alpine there, if you like, as we go into the Della Roger chicane now for the 27th time. And the order has been sorted out then, it looks like. But Young Lights dropping down behind Favre then after that escapade then through the first chicane. I'll pay the second place card to bump draft him, says Classical Tunes. Well, as it stands, these two are bump drafting each other then into a very comfortable lead in this Grand Prix. Almost 9 seconds now over P3 of Equaz then, who is, like I said, soldiered on then in this race on the oh goodness me, what a drive for Cam through the Ascari chicane then. Oh, he almost went into the back of Equaz there, and yeah, that was very dodgy stuff indeed, but he managed to avoid any issues, let's just say that, as there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars then flying into Parabolica now as we go through onto lap 28 of 53. And this Racing Bull is going to be racing to get himself up into P3, then into the podium places, passing Equaz, and of course he's on much fresher hard compound tyres. He's almost on half the tyre life compared to Equaz, of course, who's done the full distance so far in this Grand Prix on those hards. As we go into turn 1, then New Zealand Cam, I think, has taken away that position, has he? Oh, it's close indeed into turn 1 and 2, then up into P3 goes Cam. Equaz then P4. But well, all it is just normal service resumed. Then they've changed places at the top of the queue, but the rest of the queue then is status quo, really, isn't it? As we go through into the Della Roger chicane once again, then onto lap 28 now. Cam trying to skate away there, but he's gone over the curb slightly. Then that might have unsettled the car, and yeah, there we go. Then Equaz then he's back on the attack, then back on the diffuser of that Racing Bull as we go through the first. And now into the second Lesmo here as well then, flying through then the laps here as well in this fantastic Italian Grand Prix. So far, so good, let's just say that as well. Then Gino has got himself past Legend then into the first turn then with some DRS assistance as well then. Out in front then, these two 15 laps then on their medium compound tyres. When will they have to come into the pit lane, and when will they call it a day then on their tyres as well? We will wait and see. Ginger Rage's got a 3-second penalty then going through the Ascari chicane, I imagine. Yes, it is. Mumford has got himself back past Mushroom, then into P7 now as Mumford, then into the Parabolica corner, and up into P7 now for the Haas driver. Then good stuff indeed. Then far side by side then with Equaz as we go through into Parabolica as well. Then on the exit and down the main straight, here comes the Alpine on the charge. Can they get themselves back in contention? Can they get themselves ahead of New Zealand Cam as we go down the straight here into turn 1? Equaz shapes the move, but he's not quite gone for it. And Young Lights then going down the inside of Farf then into the first turn. Then they're going to be side by side on the exit of turn 2. And they're still side by side on the exit of turn 2. There is the view from Mumford's car. But goodness me, there's contact again between the two of them. Then I'm not quite sure either of them are very keen on spatial awareness. But yeah, there we go then into the Della Roger chicane now as well. Then thankfully slowing the cars down to avoid any back end contact. Let's just put it that way. That's an interesting phrase, but there we go. As Coop then holding on, then Gino's got himself the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. Then here's trying to get himself back in this race then, and hoping for another safety car potentially. But with this group here, I think it's most likely place then. Sickers Muck picks up a penalty. Then he's got himself past Ginger Rage somewhere, because Ginger Rage has had a problem somewhere and dropped down behind the Ferrari now. Farf then trying to get himself past Equaz, but not quite. Then Equaz still holding on 28 lap hold at hard compound tyres compared to 16 lap hold hard compound tyres. He is doing a fantastic job in the Williams car then, and Equaz is holding on to the DRS then of New Zealand Cam as well then, who's got a penalty to his name, so that will be added on to his race time at the end of the Grand Prix. So it is well, interesting stuff to say the least, let's just put it that way. Right then, Cam, Far. Who is it? Equaz. Equaz is in the pit lane now, so Equaz calling it a day on the hard compound tyres. We're on to lap 30 here. He's done 29 laps, or he's almost done 30 laps. He's done the formation lap as well on those hard compound tyres, I suppose. The Mono Astro one says classical tunes. Equaz then coming out on medium compound tyres. Where will he be in the field? He will be behind R2 Beat, who has done 12 laps on his medium compound tyres. Vessia then coming through in the Aston Martin, then is going to be close indeed between himself and Equaz as we go in towards turn 1, but Equaz I think has got himself ahead and stays ahead then into turn 1. Then he's got himself P12 then for the time being, and a bit of clear air ahead of him as well then for the new medium compound tyres to get rubbered in then and get himself some good grip and pace then for this final stint, I think, for the race. Then I think Equaz is going to try and do the one stopper here. Then potentially we might see those who are on the hard compound tyres try and go to the end. We'll have to wait and see. The likes of Cam and Farth could be a good shout for those. Young Lights might have to pit again. Well, Young Lights hasn't pitted, of course, at all, so he will have to pit for sure, because him and Equaz, sorry, were the last drivers who had to pit then in this race, who had not pitted at all. Gino had already pit then as well from the hard compound tyres as well. Yellow flags, and Astrojon is out then, and that could be a safety car. Could it? It could be. Where is he? There he is. He's had a bit of a problem then through the Ascara chicane. He's out of the Grand Prix, but there is no safety car. That is very odd then indeed. Farth then up into P3, then passing New Zealand Cam then into the first turn. Then he's got himself up into the podium places now. Mushroom has lost out to the DRS then of these top two in this train, or formerly of this train. Mumford then holding on to the McLaren. Then Young Lights in the pit lane. Where is Young Lights going to come out of the box? And the mechanics are clearing away the gubbins. But there he goes then down the main straight, then up into turn 1. But there is Equaz. Then Equaz has taken back the position then, and Vessia is going to fight then as well then into the first chicane. And Young Lights then P11. Equaz back in the points. Good stuff indeed then. And he has got himself almost a 1 second gap to Young Lights as well then. But I think harvesting some battery then through here, that could help Young Lights stay within the DRS detection point. Like Lucas Percy up into P15 now, with Astrojon then being nerfed out of the race. But I think, unfortunately for Lucas Percy, he's been caught then by the race leaders here. And they have caught Lucas Percy, unfortunately, for the kicks out, that is. But Gordon now taking through lap 31 here and on to the 32nd lap now as well then. With only about 21 laps to go then at the end of this lap, I should say. Then goodness me, Coop then doing a fantastic job of holding on to that Aston Martin as well as we go in towards turn 1 once again then on the 32nd attempt. And New Zealand Cam then trying to put the pressure on Farth as well here. Mushroom has dropped off the back then of these two on the hard compound tyres absolutely massively then, and now Mumford is on the charge as well for that P5 position then in towards turn 1. Can he go for it here? He's later on the brake, not later on the brake, sorry, but Mushroom has gone deep, and that could open the door then on the exit then for Mumford then into the Curva Grande. Not quite there, but Cam and Farth now in this battle are going to resume their battling then for the next few laps, I think. We'll have to wait and see how long it's going to go on for. Young Lights has gone caught up to Equaz now and going for the move then down the main straight in towards turn 1. Young Lights up into the top 10 now and ahead of Equaz as well. Good battling indeed then. These two need to work together, just like Gordo and Coop then, to try and catch up to the train as quickly as possible then as well. So we'll have to wait and see how they do that, and if they do that, that is as well, then they might choose to battle and lose time. Then we'll have to wait and see. They've got 4 seconds to try and catch RTB, then they've got a further 10 seconds to catch up to Ginger Rage and Sick as Muck. Then Sick as Muck then under pressure from the McLaren as we go through in towards Ascari. Ginger Rage then on 19 lap old hard compound tyres. Can they go to the end of the Grand Prix from here? It will be a stretch indeed, but it could be possible. We'll have to wait and see. And I think it was Ginger Rage who did a fantastic stint in the previous race then to get himself P10 last week, was it? Goodness me, I can't remember, it's too far away. Yeah, anyway, they worked. He needs to work together. They need to work together. They have to work together if they want to maximise their pace in this Grand Prix. And battling then does not help you in terms of your race pace. It holds you up. If you didn't know that already, there you go. So there we are then. Into turn 1, then no change for the race lead. Then here comes, we've got yellow flag. It's a legend, I think. Mumford has passed Serious Mushroom for P5. Into turn 1 then, yes, he has done good stuff indeed. Legend having an issue out of the second. Lesmo has got himself back underway, thankfully, but unfortunately not going his way out there at this point of the Grand Prix. 20 laps to go then in this race then, as we finish off lap 33, or will finish off lap 33 in the next few seconds. Equaz is back past and up into P10 then, as these two, like I said, battling away, then working together. Hopefully Lucas Percy's had an issue as well then at the second, or before the second Lesmo, and trying to get himself back, pointing in the right direction here, as through goes Cam and Farf in P3 and P4 respectively as well then, out in front. Then these two carrying on the fight then, but when will they come into the pit lane? Will they have to come into the pit lane, or are they going to try and go to the end of the Grand Prix then and do 40 laps then on this on their medium compound tyres? We will wait and see. Well, I need to catch my breath, to be fair, because it's been after that safety car, it's been pretty much all out. Soft compound tyres going on Legend's car. Then he's going to go on to a fresh set of fresh set of softs here, but also a front wing then going on that Haas, and back underway. Then Legend then coming out the pit lane now. Unfortunately, has been lapped then, but of course will be on much fresher tyres then, and potentially if Gordo and Coop do have to pit, then he will come back out then into the fight as well. Then with back on the lead lap, I should say. So Legend is not in a horrible spot just yet then, but he needs to get himself back underway then quickly enough. Then Mushroom and Mushroom and Mumford, sorry, have got themselves sorted, and P5 now for Mushroom, up into the midpoints then for the McLaren driver. Then Young Lights and Equaz then still switching places. Then out in front we've had a change for the lead, as Coop has taken away the race lead then from Gordo, and they've got a 9-second gap over Farf as it stands then, but I think they will have to start thinking very soon about pit stops then as well. But will they use the soft compound tyre? Will they try and go for mediums again? Then we'll have to wait and see. Then they will have to decide quite quickly though, because if they keep going and they just wait for the last few laps, then they will not maximise the pace that they have on the new set of tyres. And Gordo is all over the back then of that Williams, and heading down towards the Parabolica corner then into lap 35 very shortly as well then. Brilliant stuff indeed then from the top two. They are scampering away then, let's just put it that way. They have done a fantastic job out there. Mushroom then up into P6, Mumford then waiting, was trying to catch up then right behind us then from the McLaren's point of view. Coop and Gordo then switching places once again then for the race lead. Then Gordo has got the place back with some DRS then down the main straight towards turn 1 then. Good stuff from them. Cam then, can he get himself a P3 position? Then can he challenge Farf then as we go down towards turn 1 once again? Then blue flags fluttering then behind us. I think that's for Lucas Percy then, unfortunately for Percy, but fair play to Percy for soldiering on out there. He is doing a great job then indeed. Mushroom then has kept hold of P5 for the time being then. Mumford then stays P6. He's done 5 laps longer on his medium compound tyres, has Mushroom, compared to the McLaren driver, and maybe we'll be starting to feel the effects of that then very soon as well. Then I think pitted under the first safety car did Mumford, and he's got himself up into P6 then. Very nicely done indeed then, but we'll have to stop again, I imagine. We'll have to wait and see then what the situation is going to be like then for the stoppers. Will they stop again then, or will those on the hard compound tyres, likes of Ginger Rage, Sickus, Cam and Farf, then will they be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix on those hard compound tyres? We will wait and see. But at the moment, I think the medium compound tyres will have to pit again then. The likes of Young Lights and Equaz will have to just try and get themselves into a fight then for the podium places at the end of the Grand Prix. Vessia picks up a penalty, unfortunately, for Vessia then in the Aston Martin here tonight. His first full-time appearance in the Aston Martin, of course, after switching from the Alpine to the racing green machine. Not the green machine that we're seeing then from Lucas Percy and Young Lights then, but they are catching R2B then. Into the pits comes Coop then. Coop coming into the pit lane now has called it a day then on the medium compound tyres. We've got what we've got then. 16, 17 laps to go then in this Grand Prix. It's going to be more medium compound tyres going on that Williams car. And this is going to be it then for Coop then to the end. A sprint finish for the Williams car as we go through. And out of the pit lane, he will be behind Ginger Rage, I imagine. Yes, he will. And back underway then. Astrodron, the game is trash. Fantastic. Bring back the 2023 physics there. To be fair, I think out of Ascari then onto F123, then you could do even worse than crashing into the wall on the exit there in F123 then. So don't try me. I can definitely try and do it. But if that's a test, then I will definitely take you up on it then, sir. But unlucky then for Astrodron then, and for Reflection and Kiki then, both all out of this Grand Prix at various stages as well then. It is a car breaker, isn't it? This circuit it is incredibly fast paced, but it's very dangerous indeed. And especially if you get one tire on the grass or dip one tire on the grass, make one mistake then through a Scari or through the Della Roger chicane, then and it can be absolutely catastrophic, can't it? But there we are. Then Mushroom picked up a penalty. That's bad news for Mushroom. Then going through the Ascari chicane now, but Mumford then putting the pressure on. Then as we go down towards Parabolica here, and I think both of them harvesting some batteries as we go down towards the final corner. Cam then is all over the back then of Farf. These two have been relinquished into the podium places as it stands now with Coop's pit stop. Will Gordo coming to the pit lane as well then. He's soldiering on out there still. It's lap 37 now, so we've got 15 laps or 16 laps or so to go at the end of this one. Where is Mumford? And Mumford then going for the move then on Mushroom. Down the inside into turn 1, and yes, he's done it. Good stuff indeed. Now up into P4 now. Where is Coop? Coop is 2 seconds ahead of R2 Beat then. So these two who are pitted, then Equaz and Young Lights, then goodness me, late on the brakes there as well. And my goodness me, he's got to slow down just in time then, has Young Lights. Equaz has lost out then to Young Lights. Young Lights putting the charge on now. Equaz unfortunately has lost out then somewhere to the Alpine of R2 Beat and now to Young Lights as well then. Young Lights then is up into the top 9. And apart from Coop, is on the freshest tyres in the top 9 as well then. So, oh goodness me, I swallowed my tongue. So it's going to be interesting to see where Young Lights will get himself in this race then with in the latter stages, of course, then, especially with those who are trying to soldier on then, especially on the hard compound tyres, but those who might try and soldier on the medium compound tyres. I'm looking at Mumford here, who has done 29 laps on his medium compound, which I think definitely is probably going to be screaming at this rate. Mushroom has done 24 laps, and same for the race leader of Gordo, who's staying out then at this point. He's got an 8-second lead then over Farf for the time being, that is, but we'll have to wait and see then if that's going to start changing. Then we've got I think Young Light picked up a penalty there, unfortunately for him. Then R2 Beat then is staying within DRS range, and Equaz has got himself back in DRS range of the Alpine as we head into Parabolica now. So there we are. Cam stays behind Farf then for the time being. Farf holding on to that P2 position then very nicely indeed. Mumford holds on to P4 into the first chicane as well then ahead of Mushroom. Ginger Rage is bringing that gap down now. Those hard compound tyres are definitely working now in his favour compared to the older medium compound tyres for the Mushroom and for the Mumford as well. Then as we go through the Curva Grande, then can Ginger Rage get himself within DRS range of his teammate here in the next few corners or so. There we go. Then we've got this battling pack as well. Then 3 seconds back is Coop then as we go through into the Della Roger chicane. And Young Lights then is also on 7-lap-old medium compound tyres. Then he is 2.6 seconds back then from Coop. R2 Beat then staying within DRS range just about. He's done 20 laps on his medium compound tyres. Equaz now putting the pressure on the Alpine very soon with the fresher grip then for the fresher tyres. 8-lap-old medium compound tyres. Sorry. Soft going on for Legend. Then Legend is unfortunately a lap down. Then he's behind Gordo, I think there, but Gordo might come into the pit lane very soon. Will he? No, not this lap. So Legend then staying on the train, then staying on the back of that Aston Martin is going to help himself there because he will be able to get himself past very soon, I think, unless when Gordo does come in the pit lane, or unless he doesn't pit, then he will be able to get himself through when Gordo's tyres might pop. But there we go then, in towards turn 1. Here comes Cam. We've got a yellow flag. Oh dear, Cam's slowing that car down, but he's locked up the brakes now. He's gone wide. He's off the circuit as well then. My goodness me, I think it might have been Percy then just letting people through then. Oh dear, Mumford's ghosted it. He's lagged about then, has Mumford, but he's got himself sorted. Equaz has got himself past R2 Beat as well. Then up into the top 10 now from Williams. And looking to chase on with Young Lights as well. Then Lucas Percy back in the pit lane. Has sort of parked himself in the pit lane there, it looks like. So that's interesting. He has got himself sorted now. And he's got himself into the box as well. Right then, Gordo has done 27 laps then at the end of this lap on his medium compound tyres. Mumford's done 31 then, but I think it's starting to struggle now, and Ginger Rage has caught up to the pair of them, both his teammate of Mushroom and Mumford here, and Mumford is going to be under pressure, I think, then from a very scary Ginger Rage as we head down towards Ascari now. And yeah, there we go then, Ginger Rage is on the hard compound tyres, so I think his tyres are going to be in much better shape than those on the Hasses, but we'll have to wait and see then as we go through the Ascari chicane now as well then. Oh dear, I thought that was going to be a very big problem there, but it seemed to be just the camera angle that's getting me excited. But there we go then, heading down towards Parabolica then. We're all in a bit of a DRS train then. Sickasmuck has dropped off the back then of the McLarens as we go through Parabolica then. Very wide on the entry then for Ginger Rage, but he's got the pace then through the corner then to keep it all together. And now Mushroom is in the pit lane. Mushroom called it a day then. He's been to the box then as Mushroom. Good stuff indeed. So we'll have to see what he's going to go on to next then. But here comes Ginger Rage then on the attack then. Mumford has got DRS then from Mushroom before he pitted. As we go into turn 1 then, Ginger Rage is up to P5. Brilliant stuff indeed. Then Mushroom is into the box and soft compound tyres going on. 13 laps to go in this race. That would be perfect indeed, I think, for the soft compound tyre. Vesh is going to go through then. I think Ginner will go through as well, potentially then on Mushroom. But now Mushroom coming out of the pit lane will be on much fresher and much faster tyres as well as we head towards turn 1. Then Ginner has got himself through, and Mushroom coming out the pit lane in P13 for the time being. Only a few positions away from the points paying places. R2 Beat is trying to hold on to Equaz, and he's doing a great job actually as R2 Beat on his medium compound tyres. The difference is over 12 laps, or just over 12 laps then for in terms of the tyre life between the two of them then, but R2 Beat is fantastically doing a brilliant job then to hold on to the back of this Williams car, sorry. If he can get himself to the end of the Grand Prix on those tyres as well, then he could be in for a good haul of points as well here, because he's going to be pulled along by Equaz, who's going to be maybe getting a nice little undercut then, or sick as muck's in the wall then. There could be a safety car for that for sure. It is a safety car. And my God, where has he gone? Where has he gone? I'm not quite sure where he's gone, to be honest. Yeah, right then, safety car's out again. Pit lane then for Gordo. Gordo on soft compound tyres. Farf and Cam then into the pits. Mumford, I think, will surely call it a day on the mediums then and pit as well. Yes, he is. Then into the pits he goes. Mushroom then coming through. Then who is on the fresher tyres? Then Coop staying out. Then Young Lights is into the pits as well. Then Coop's coming in the pit lane. Equaz unfortunately going to have to double stack behind his teammate here, which is bad news indeed for the Williams pair, or for Equaz indeed, especially. Mushroom then is adhering to the delta. Then I think he's better advised to stay out. Then he might be able to jump quite a few people here as he goes down the pit straight now. Safety car has caught the leader, so he won't have a delta to be held up by, and he will be up into P6. P5? No, P6 then, so there we are then. Mushroom then, as he's lost out to Mumford and Ginger Rage then. Well, he was very close. He was in a battle with Ginger Rage and Mumford as well, to be fair, so he hasn't lost out too much. Young Lights then into P7, then medium compound tyres then for Young Lights. Interesting stuff indeed from him. Unfortunately, I think Legend and Percy are lapped, aren't they? Are they? No, they're not, I don't think. So that's not too bad. Decent timing, says Gordo. Yes, it looked like indeed for the race leader. Now, Gordo then has not got any penalties to his name as well. As it stands then, soft compound tyres then to the end of the Grand Prix from here. It should be in at the end of lap, roughly around lap 43, I think then. So we'll hopefully... I don't know if Percy's on the... Is Percy on the lead lap now? He might be. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if he is actually, unfortunately. Legend is in the pit lane. I think Legend might be on the lead lap. But he has made his stop now for the soft compound tyres. He will be out ahead of the safety car. So I think Legend might be on the lead lap then. So we've only got 14 runners, including Percy, in this race still, which is, well, yes, it's, like I said, it is Monza. It can happen. Right then, we're going to be back underway in a few laps' time, I think, then, because there's quite a bit spacing out in the field. So Legend needs to get his skates on them, but he's now onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres as well, then, which is good stuff indeed. Who is going to be coming out on top then? Mumford, no penalties as it stands, could be on for a podium place here, potentially even the win as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Coop could gain quite a lot of places as well. Then R2 Beat, no penalties for him. Both the Williams, unfortunately, for Equaz, he had to double stack behind his teammate there. Coop didn't stay out. He'd done 4 laps on his medium compound tyres, but decided it was still better to pick then and sort out himself onto a new set of softs, which is probably a fair play. But Equaz is probably unhappy with that one, but because he wanted to have a free pit stop without him double stacking there. But so far, so good then. Like I said, 10 lap. Oh, goodness me. That Alpine I thought was going to off in the distance then, but right then. So I think, like I said, Legend is going to be on the lead lap then. Unfortunately for Percy, I don't think he will be on, which is a shame. But I think Legend is on the lead lap then. So we are waiting just for Legend really to catch up to the safety car queue. Yeah, unfortunately for Percy, it has not worked out in this way then. I thought he might have been able to get himself back on the lead lap then, but no, is the situation there. But Legend is on the lead lap still, but just trying to catch up now on his soft compound tyres. Right then. So it's mediums for Lucas Percy, who's unfortunately a lap down then. Young Lights is on medium compound tyres in P7 then for the other kick Sauber. So mediums for both the kick Saubers, everyone else on the soft compound tyres then for the restart here. But we're going to have to wait another lap, I think, then before the restart at least, because the likes of Percy and Legend then are yet to catch up to the queue just yet. But it will be we'll be back underway very shortly with 10 laps, I think, to go in this race then at the end of lap 43 potentially. So Percy trying to overtake people here, I think, but not quite sure if that's going to work out. And yeah, you have to let people through as well there. But yeah, unfortunately for Percy, can't get. It's frustrating because if it could let lap cars through now, I suppose, and then he could get himself back on the lead lap and back underway really. But it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately, in the game until they've sorted that sort of thing out. But they have not. So. Yes, so there we go. But I think Percy trying to make people aware that he wants to get himself past. Whether they can get themselves off the track and let him through is another question, though. But Legend now going down the main straight will hopefully catch up in this race shortly as well. Right, so right then, we are going to get cracking then for a 10-lap sprint, I think, pretty much to the end. I think it'll be in this lap. It might be a late call actually, with Legend trying to go through the Della Roger chicane now as we go through the second Lesmo. But yes, so we'll be back underway very, very shortly. When will we be back underway exactly is another question, but I think it will be very soon, and we can crack on then for the last 10 laps then of the Italian Grand Prix here. But yeah, I think Legend now has just about caught up enough for the safety car to get himself back into the pits, I should say, and that should be it then for Bert Mylander then, and we can crack on then to the end of the Grand Prix. Yes, we can. Good stuff indeed. And right then, Gordo leads the way this time, and he will be doing the safety car restart as Bert Mylander speeds off then into the distance then through Parabolica with his safety car lights off as he comes back to the pit lane. Right, then Gordo is looking to I'm not sure what Gordo's doing here, because he's going to catch up with the safety car straight away then on this restart. The safety car is now in, and oh my god, Farth then has had a bit of a botched job then as well. Mumford and Ginger Rage also having a bit of a botched job, as is Young Lights and Mushroom. So that's fantastic. So they go through then. R2 Beat and Equaz. Coops dropped down to P10, then R2 Beat's got himself up into P7. Has he? Equaz now up into P7. Goodness me. Then into the first chicane then, and Mushroom has gone straight into Mumford there. And oh my, there's more contact between Equaz and Young Lights here as well. And Young Lights has reset the track then. Unfortunately, that is not going to be helpful for him in this race, because that is a penalty, unfortunately. But Vessia then has got himself up into P8 then, and Mushroom then has piled in. I think it was Mushroom. It might have been Ginger Rage, to be fair, but it's probably Ginger Rage actually. So yeah, never mind. But yes, so one of the McLarens anyway has piled into the chicane and first chicane, and that has been very, very costly indeed then for quite a few drivers out there. And unfortunately for Young Lights and for Equaz especially, then Mumford dropping down then from P6 as well then. I think it was from Mumford. Yeah, Mumford has definitely come off worse as well then. Mumford down to P11 here, and unfortunately it is just doom and gloom then for oh my god, as I thought Equaz was going into the wall then, but thankfully he has sorted himself out, and unfortunately has dropped down then to P13. But yes, that was pandemonium, let's just say that then. Mushroom then is holding up Coop now. Of course, Coop has not got any penalties then, so potentially Mushroom is trying to play the team game here and try and hold off. Jinner has got himself down the inside, sorry, of Vessia, as I think that's Lucas Percy's got a ghost car then in the middle there. He's got a fastest lap then as Lucas Percy. Good stuff from him. Fair enough. Like I said, he can hold on to that point as well then if he gets the fastest lap and finishes the Grand Prix. Oh my god then, as we go into the first chicane then, and Lucas Percy is oh my god, there's more problems here with R2 Beat and Coop off the circuit again then, and there's more, oh god. And well, which way is Mumford going to go then? Mumford's gone around the outside there, thankfully, and they've escaped just about then. But R2 Beat and Coop this time coming together then into the first chicane. And we go through into the Della Roger chicane now, and Vessi has been passed by Legend, then Legend up into P7 here. My God, then I don't think they've realised there's quite a few laps to go in this race, and it's not a 2-lap sprint, then it's a 10-lap sprint, although it is only 10 laps still. Yes, it has been frantic to say the least then after this restart. Out in front, then Gordo's been passed by Farf, then Farf takes the lead of the Grand Prix after starting on pole position. He's back up into P1, but of course has a penalty to his name as it stands. And Gordo then is looking to try and bounce back then. Young Lights has passed Mumford then for P10, then Mumford has dropped down into the Ascara chicane, then he's down to P11, then Young Lights then into the top 10 as it stands, but of course has penalties to his name. Then Mumford is losing battery, then losing power down the straight, then compared to R2P has got himself up into P11 I should say, then here into the Parabolica now, and DRS I think is available on this lap, isn't it? I think, I believe, as we go through then. We've got more DRS then because Gordo has taken back the lead, and here he is then as we go into turn 1, and we're just hoping there's no contact behind us. Thankfully there isn't. So there we go then. Mushroom then is P5 then. Penalties racking up then all over the field then, apart from Gordo, apart from Coop, apart from R2B and Equaz, apart from Mumford as well then. So they could all get themselves back in the points paying positions, those three at the bottom of the field as it stands. Then we'll have to wait and see then. Legends under pressure from Bessie as we go into the Della Roger chicane on the 46th lap. Goodness me, there's so many laps in this race as we go through the second chicane now. Cam then putting the pressure on Farf, then Farf has lost out to the lead with Gordo, then Gordo back up into P1 then as we go through the second Lesmo, the top 4 scampering away then. Serious Mushroom 1.5 seconds back has been put under pressure from Jinner as we go onto the back straight then down towards Ascari once again. Then Legend trying to catch up to the top 6 as we go through, then Vessia putting the pressure on as we go down towards the Ascari chicane. Then I thought he was going to go for it there, but no, not quite. Young Lights ahead of the R2 Beat. R2 Beat passing Coop as well then into the Ascari chicane, then now onto the back straight heading down towards Parabolica to finish off lap 46 here. R2 Beat on a charge now. My goodness me, it has been definitely a fiery Italian Grand Prix tonight then, hasn't it? 46 laps completed. We've still got about 7 to go here in this Grand Prix, and it could be anyone's game still in this order, the top order. Young Light sets the fastest lap of racing, good stuff from him. Then we've got action as Jinner has passed Mushroom then into P5, and Vessia has passed Legend into, goodness me, in the background. I thought Young Light will slow the car down in time there. Oh God, his contact then with Legend as well then on the exit, and now R2 Beat's going to get himself interested as well then through the Curva Grande on lap 47, then 6 laps to go then or 7 laps to go then, so 6.5 laps to go then in this one. Mumford needs to try and catch up then. If Mumford can catch up, then he can get himself back in the points paying positions. It's not all done and dusted yet for Mumford. He needs to get himself back in that DRS then for the Haas car then, and hopefully can get himself back in that contention as well very quickly indeed. Jinner now 1.7 seconds off the top 4. Ginger Rage is on for a fantastic result here if he can hold on to it, and potentially could get himself on the podium as well, which would be terrifying. Got to interview that. So there we go. Heading into the Ascara chicane then. Ginger Age then is waiting in the wings now, waiting patiently. Ginger's picked up another penalty then. There's penalties. Goodness me, there's Mushroom off the circuit as well there. Through the Ascara chicane then, trying to hold on then when he's lost out to the 1 second of Ginner. I think Ginner's got a fantastic boost through the Ascara chicane then with the aid of some, we've got an Alpine. I thought it was the Alpine of R2 Beat then, but it wasn't. It was Farf then. But this quartet then going through onto the main straight to start off lap 48 now. 5 laps to go then at the end of this lap I should say then. Vessia looking for a move then into P6 then. Can Mushroom hold on then? Can Gordo can't hold on to the race lead. Then he's dropped down to P3 then as we've got the Alpine of Farf back into the race lead, then Cam into P2 and Gordo now P3, then Ginger Rage in P4, all over the back then of these three. Heading through the first chicane. Ginner's catching up then. Ginner is now 1.2 seconds behind Ginger Age then. Vessia is in the fight as well then. Mushroom then is down to P7, but he's still challenging then. Young Lights up into P8 then. Legend P9. R2 Beat into P10. Equaz P11 then. Coop P12. Mumford then has dropped off the back then. Unfortunately for Mumford, if he just soldiered on out there, he could be able to get himself back into the points playing positions, as I should say. But there we go then through the second Lesmo. Then Ginger Age is all over the place and all over the back of that Aston Martin. And now Gordo's trying to return the favour then on New Zealand Cam as we go down towards the Ascari chicane once again then. And heading in there is Farf then leading the way then onto the 49th lap very soon as we finish off this Italian Grand Prix. Legend puts up a penalty, and then we'll have a look at the penalty situations as well. 6 6 for Cam, 6 for Jinner, 6 for Young Lights and for Legend as well then. So there's quite a lot of position changes to come then at the checkered flag as it stands. And of course there could be some penalty removals as well then after the race, which will jig up the order as well then quite a lot. But there's 6 seconds for Cam, then there's 6 seconds for Jinner as well. Then that's going to be quite significant indeed. Gordo then takes the lead back then ahead of Cam, ahead of Farf. Then as we go down towards turn 1, Gordo is steamed into turn 1, into P1. Then Farf down the inside, turns to the outside for turn 2. Then has he got the traction? Then he's he made contact again then with somebody. And what's going on there? That is ridiculous then from Farf. Oh my goodness me, then that is costly indeed, and that is going to cost Farf and potentially Cam and potentially Ginger Rage a lot of time indeed then as we head into the Della Roger chicane then, and that is, oh my god, then that is terrible stuff indeed. That was almost calamitous from both the Alpine and the Racing Bull. And they've lost a lot of time then because of that to Gordo. And Gordo's going to be very thankful indeed as well, because he's not under pressure now down towards Ascari once again. And he is going to be absolutely fine with that. So, yeah, very good stuff indeed. Gordo is quite comfortable up there. Jinner then is trying to break the toe then, it looks like, from somebody. But he's not got a toe from Vest. It's not in the DRS then, so he doesn't have to worry about that too much. Jinner has got himself pulled up to the top 5 here. Or top 4, I should say then, sorry. Jinner then into P5, then he's got 6 seconds of penalty, so he doesn't have to he's not going to have to worry too much then, because he's going to be unfortunately dropping down the order quite substantially then at the end of this one anyway, unfortunately for Jinner. Then here we go then round the parabolic to start off lap 50 or 53. Then there's going to be more action between the Cam, between the Racing Bull and the Alpine is there, heading on to lap 50 then into turn 1 then. Vessia and Young Lights, then we've got more action. Then here comes Ginger Rage steaming down the inside then into turn 1. Then there's contact between Farf and Ginger Rage, and now there's the Alpine, the Mercedes of Jinner has gone through. Then Ginger Rage dropping down to P5. Mumford's got a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately for Mumford, that's going to be costly indeed. 6 seconds for Legend. Oh my god. Right then, Jinner is trying to go around the outside then of Cam, and that's not going to work. Both of these two have 6 seconds of penalty then. I'm not quite sure what Ginger Rage is doing here. What is Ginger Rage doing? Is he going for the move? Oh, he's gone through the first Lesbo. There's contact between Jinner and Ginger Rage as well. Then into the second Lesbo. There's more contact here between Young Lights and Jinner. Oh my god. I don't think the drivers can do it without contact here. There's more contact again as we go through into the Ascari chicane. If they go through side by side, I'm pretty sure they will not finish the race. Let's just put it that way then. As we go through into the exit of the Ascari, then Jinner is now putting the pressure on Ginger Rage. Ginger Rage has lost out then with that ambitious move, let's just put it that way, on Favre into the first chicane. Then he's lost out of the DRS then, but I think actually the lap car of Percy will give the McLaren some DRS here, which will be pretty good news indeed for Ginger Rage, because he will otherwise lose out then to both Jinner and to Young Lights heading down the main straight here. DRS not activated. Yes, it is activated now, sorry. As Jinner looks to shape up for a move then on the McLaren once again into towards turn 1. Then Young Lights going down the inside and late on the brakes. Then, oh goodness me, side by side with Ginger Rage and through the first chicane. There's contact with Jinner again, and my god. Oh god, what's happening here? Ginger Rage round the outside, round the parabolic corner. Then here we go. Then Jinner's getting himself involved as well here, as Ginger Rage has dropped down to P6 as it stands. My god, there's whole action in lap 51 then. We're not even on the penultimate lap, and they're battling like with the final lap here as we go through the first and second Lesmos now. Ginger Rage doesn't have to worry too much, because Jinner and Young Lights have both got penalties for 6-second penalties. Then Ginger Rage needs to hold on then to the queue. To the train, I should say. Then Cam's also got 6 seconds. Favre takes the lead of the Grand Prix then in towards the Ascari chicane, then passing Gordo, but Gordo doesn't have to worry too much then because of the penalty situation then for the drivers around him and ahead of him, in this case Favre, as we go through the Ascari chicane. Ginger Rage, like I said, just needs to hold on then to the Mercedes and to the Kick Sauber then, but Vessia could try and get himself past the McLaren here and get himself an extra position then at the end of this Grand Prix. Ginger Rage needs to make sure that Vessia doesn't get past here. R2B is in contention for a great result then in the Alpine. There's lots of penalties ahead of him. He could get himself on the podium places here. Gordo retakes the lead on to lap 52 then. The penultimate lap of the Grand Prix is underway as we go through into turn 1 now. late on the brakes then for Cam, then up into P2, then passing Favre. There is Percy, then Percy's ghost car is involved as well in the battle for the race lead, but unfortunately here's a lap down, then that ghosted Kick Sauber is a lap down, that is Percy, then Young Lights is in P4, and he is not ghosted because he is battling then for P4 as it stands, potentially even P3 as we go into the Della Roger chicane once again then, and Percy then is under a bit of pressure, I think, from the race leaders as we go into the first and second Lesmo now. Ginner then is trying to get himself up the road a bit more. Ginger Rage holding on very nicely then to the Mercedes and to the Kick Sauber of Young Lights, and this is going to be great news indeed at the end then for Ginger Rage's result then. Potentially, I don't think we'll be able to get Ginger Rage on the podium here tonight, but he will be on for a fantastic result nonetheless. Then R2 Beat is on for a fantastic result then as well, and is currently going to be on the podium for sure, I think, at this stage. Legend picks up another penalty, unfortunately for him. That's 9 seconds now for Legend then to go through into Ascari for the penultimate time, then the penultimate lap then for Legend as well. Then Ginger Rage has been passed by Vessia. That is bad news for Ginger Rage, and that is a position lost as we go into the Parabolica. My God, I thought it was going to go straight into the side then of the Aston Martin. R2 Beat right behind the McLaren now as well. Cruising on to the main straight, the final lap of the Grand Prix here. Cam then lining up a move. Can he go for the race lead into turn 1 then? Here he goes then down the inside, down the outside. There is Percy then taking the race lead into turn 1. And there's contact between Gordo and, my goodness me, there's contact between Gordo and Young Lights, and New Zealand Cam has been spun down as well, down to P9 then. He's spun the car around. He's out of the points, unfortunately, for Cam. Here comes Gordo, then Gordo going through into the Curva Grande as well. And my goodness me, I don't think that was helped then by Cam as well. I think locking up on the entry to that corner. Yeah, unfortunately, there was all sorts of scenes there as we go through onto the first and second Lesbo for the final time now here in Monza. And my goodness me, I think Young Lights is going to get a nice little tow. There's contact, there's an incident, then Ginner's off the circuit there at the first Lesmo, or between the first and second Lesmo, down to P10 then. He's still having problems then, is Ginner as well. Then goodness me, it's not going too well for Ginner out there as well then, unfortunately. But we'll come back to that then, because this has been an absolutely chaotic Italian Grand Prix, let's just say the least. To say the least, I should say. Goodness me. Border then is in P2, but it will be a net, in the net race lead then. Favre's gone through. But unfortunately, he's got a penalty to his name, so it won't count, unfortunately, for Favre. But there we go then into the final couple of corners. Then we will not be able to give you the classification before we cross the line. But here we are then to the line. It is Gordo then to take the race win here in Monza. Fantastic stuff indeed from Gordo. R2B claims P2 with a fantastic result then in the Alpine. Favre P3 rounding off the podium places. Equaz P4. And I didn't see the rest of the field there, but my goodness me. Watch out for a low-flying controller from Sean, says Andy as well then. I'm not sure where Sean finished in the end, and we'll have to find out in a minute. But R2 Beat then a fantastic drive then in the Alpine. Then he got demoted from the Aston Martin down to the Alpine, but it hasn't halted his progress. Then P2 here tonight then for R2 Beat. Brilliant stuff indeed. There is your podium citizen. Both the Alpines on the podium. Then Favre from P1 gets himself back into the podium contention as well. Then R2 Beat then in P2, and Gordo is your race winner here in Monza tonight. Fantastic stuff indeed then. 2 players added to the group then, so hopefully we'll get an interview then with Gordo and with R2 Beat, and of course Favre will join us as well then in P3, so that's going to be a fun interview. But there we are then looking at podium celebrations then. Good stuff indeed from the top 3 then to finish off this fantastic Italian Grand Prix. Fiery Italian Grand Prix, let's just put it that way then. Gordo then claims the win, then R2 Beat in P2, Favre P3, Equaz P4, Vessia P5, Young Lights in P6, Ginger Rage P7 in the end. Good result though from Ginger Rage, and McLaren of Mushroom in P8 as well then. Good recovery then. Coupe P9, Legend in P10, Mumford P11, Cam P12, Ginner in P13, Percy in P14 was your final finisher there. Sick as Muck then out of the race, so was Astrodron, so was Reflection, and so was Kiki in this Italian Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff indeed then. We'll get ourselves some interviews hopefully in the next few minutes or so with our podium interviewers, our podium drivers then. Hopefully you can meet them. So there we go then, and that will be that then for the Italian Grand Prix. But fantastic stuff indeed then to those who managed to finish it as well then. Right then, we'll start off with our race winner then, Gordo. A fantastic drive then in the Aston Martin then. You kept it clean with the penalties, and that got you the race win in the end there.
Hello? Sorry. Is that working now?
Yes.
Yeah. Is the mic alright? I've heard it's been a bit fuzzy at times. Somebody told me that the other day. Is it better now? Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
I said, did you, or you kept the penalties, clean, and you kept the penalties clean, and then you got yourself a race win here once again, and like I said, just keeping it, minimising the warnings, minimising the penalties, has got yourself a Grand Prix win once again.
Yep, pretty much. That's what most of that was. That and the safety car pretty much won me that. Safety car came out the lap that I pitted, so I can't complain about that. Just I was going into the pits and it'd have been tight whether I won it without that or not. It depends if other folk behind me pitted, I don't know. But I won't complain.
And like I said, you got yourself another race win there. Some absolutely epic battling as well, especially in that final few laps there as well. A lot of drivers seem to think that it was a 2-lap sprint to the finish then at the end of that safety car at the final time. But you kept it clean then and kept it under control then. And even with the battling for the race lead, you got yourself another race win. What was it like then in that final stint for yourself?
Yeah, it was quite tough. And also when you see a train of about 10 cars behind you, it's quite intimidating. Um, but no, it all stayed, at least my end, relatively calm, which was good. But yeah, it certainly wasn't easy.
And another race win then cements your place in the top 3 for the championship. Then I think well, your rivals R2B and Equaz both scored quite highly here tonight as well. Then so they are still on your case for the top 3. But another great result then to cement your place in the top 3 as well. Fantastic stuff indeed from yourself there, Gordo. Well done. We'll go on to P2 then. R2 beat P2 tonight then in the Alpine this time. So you've switched from Gordo's teammate to the Alpine machine and Fav's teammate, and you got yourself another podium like it. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, but that wasn't the expected outcome after like half of the race. So yeah, I was insanely lucky with it last safety car that brought us back to the pack and put me on good tires. And yeah,
We're looking at the deltas in that, like you said before, that final safety car, and you were bringing the gap down very quickly, actually, indeed, to the top one of the order, because everyone else was on over 26 lap old hards or mediums even, and they were starting to fall off compared to your fresher tires. So I don't think I think it might have come back to you, but I don't think you would have been as high as P2 in the end there. But nonetheless, a fantastic result then for yourself and Team Alpine. And what's it like driving with Farf as your teammate this time?
yeah, it was fun to have another teammate in front of me. Normally it was Gordo, now it's Fart, so doesn't really matter. But yeah, it was. I should really apologize to Lucas Percy for the first turn incident. I missed a brake marker on the right hand side and I hit him. So yeah, I really want to apologize for that because that's not how racing should be going. So.
I see. Well, we saw something happen, but we didn't see on the screen exactly what happened. We just
Yeah,
saw the position
you,
changes at the end there, but at the end of the
I
incident.
missed the brake marker on the right hand side. There was a brake marker was gone, and I don't have the racing line assist, so I missed the brake marker. I saw the 100-meter board, and then I was too late. So I tried to avoid everybody, but of course I needed to hit someone, and I waited for him in the end to just go in front of me. But yeah. Um, in the end, you ruin someone's race, and that's not the ideal situation, of course. So, again, I'm sorry.
Well, it was thank you. Well, I don't know why I'm saying thank you. You didn't apologise, but hopefully Lucas Pazzi has that anyway. So fair play indeed for apologising there for that incident as well. But very good stuff indeed from R2 Beat then in the Alpine now, but still fighting on for podiums and good results here tonight. Then fantastic from R2 Beat here as well. We'll
Thank
go
you.
to his teammate Farf in PE3. Farf, then you got yourself a podium. Are you happy?
Yup,
And you got yourself pole position as well. Then, did you think you could get the race win?
yup.
And with the penalties, then you were battling with Gordo at the final stint there. Unfortunately, the penalty cost you. But are you happy with a podium in the end there?
Yup.
Brilliant stuff indeed. Well done to Farf, then P3 tonight, then in the Alpine as well. Then, and that will round off our Italian Grand Prix here for the 100% League tonight. We'll be back for Italy in gold, silver, and bronze then from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday as well. Then, and before we head to, I think it's Azerbaijan then for the 100% League next week as well. Then, so stay tuned to that. Then we'll see you in a short while. Then. Thank you very much.